The man said that missed Karen. Young woman, she asked in surprise why he was here. I heard that he became Saint's king, and she congratulated him on the fact that now Carla is on his side. After he kissed this one Karen in the forehead, and this her very surprised. He started at hug, therefore she tried to push him away. He said that everything is so, and he became Saint's king. And she should remember your own promise. If he gains power, then she will be on him work. But the girl, she pushed him away and said that she didn't understand what he was talking about. She said to Edwin didn't do it this. But Edwin only said that Karen can't forever run away, and called her teacher. A long time ago, several years ago, it began this history, and almost each her solution was fatal. Years ago, western the coastal town of Rihanna, Wellington. After long Karen's travels, everything is numb. The route from the capital to Wellington was not close. She is Countess Rihanna and the head of the administrative department. After this, she took out the registers of the nobility. They were already sitting in her liver. She came all this way to this a place for one man. She looked up his address to go to him. To find the next one heir throne, she will have to do more a short journey. She comes from Rihanna, states that Queen Sinetti, known for her reign like a god in the flesh. This sublime creation, something average between an angel and a demigod. And she presented Karen work, her dissertation, and appointed her to a high job title. With the support of queens, she decided many pressing problems his own native places. And finally, at the age of years, she was granted the title of Sage and Countess. But then she will renounce the royal title. The queen asked that Karen found her successor. Karen was in full, I was shocked and didn't understand what it was about his coming speech. When her life just started to calm down, her Your Majesty as if threw at her huge stone. The lady said that they're state perfect because her Your Highness is a goddess, and asked Karen, represents whether what will happen to this, a country without her. Karen, I didn't even know what this was about answer, because I didn't expect it such arrogance from the lady. But in reality, Rihanna really exists thanks to board Queen Sinetti. Without the queen it will collapse and all this no. That's why Karen I clenched my fists and realized that need to act. The lady said she was tired of that subjects they want to dump all their money on her problems. In addition, her father abdicated the throne when to him turned, and she already It takes years create a new king. The next ruler must be greedy, cunning, and smart, those who will not miss your own. Unless, of course, Karen doesn't want to lose a good one life. Instead of this, she decided to become related to the Cardinal's family and support her brother, which meaning get involved with some 70-year-old old man, in which she fell in love. If would father knew that if something happens, I didn't invest it, would be in it no kopecks. It's been years since she stopped communication with his own family. After all, exactly, this is what her father and mother told her. At the age of 18, she left the long-suffering hometown and later rose to the title of countess. She forced watch how is collapsing her country and understands that it will have to execute this assignment. That's why she stated that she would prepare it within a few years. Successor. Princess smiled and noted that she likes the answer. Despite the loud statement, she had to spend several months and reject candidates. Karen herself didn't understand why they had so many flaws. When woman saw where is heading Karen, she started screaming that she couldn't there go because a demon lives there. Karen calmly asked again, what about speaks woman? Woman noted that since was born this demon, the atmosphere in the estate became gloomy, and even the Duke completely went crazy after his birth. She asked Karen not to go there because something might happen to her, happen anything. Karen with disdain reacted to her words. Then she asked from what done this dessert, because she didn't like it. The woman described him, and then Karen thought about the fact that she called the Duke's son a demon. And so she became curious about what secret it was. Maybe hide. She just couldn't get her head around the fact that they were calling him a demon, so she decided that it's all just nonsense. Or so it seemed to her, until she didn't come to some wreck. I'm surprised that the Duke's estate, because doors weren't even there locked. She came inside, apologized, and said that I rang the bell, but there was no answer. Suddenly, I heard a voice that asked who dared to come in, and around flew apart volatile mice. I was shocked, because I've never seen it so huge bats. This turned out to be cheap magic trickstone and used diffraction light. After what I saw someone in a raincoat. I grabbed this one right away, boy. She asked who he was to play pranks on the Duke's estate. That's why she asked him to conduct her to the owner, but the boy sharp declared that he was an archduke. The woman asked if it was true. Does he think that she doesn't know how much he is years old? He sighed and said that his father dead. After this, Karen I let him go and asked him again if he really said father. He took off his hood and I realized that the boy is Edwin. I was shocked when I realized who he was, and he was slightly turned away from her. I was shocked to see him because I didn't expect that. He asked where from she knows his name and why she came to this estate. The lady introduced herself and said that she is a countess. The boy was surprised, asked what brought the countess here. After this, some woman hit me from behind and called me Karen damned, stating that she shouldn't touch the Duke. But Sir told Masha to stop, and the boy apologized on behalf of his maid, explaining that she simply behaved unworthily because she cared about him. Karen, they used to beat houses but never with a broom, and that's why I even thought about it, issue a decree classifying brooms how weapon. The boy meanwhile explained to Masha that she shouldn't have done that. The ruler who apologizes for his own subordinates, not so much bad, and besides, he really is cute young man. Especially his eyes, they very beautiful, blue. He really is charming boy. You can drown in them. He really is very fine looks like. She couldn't believe the Duke's death. He pretended to be a demon and hid the truth about his father's death in order to protect your city. And the boy, this confirmed it was the only one way, save it now. He is years old. He will be able to inherit the title only when to him will turn years old. Excellent plan for such a young man. This boldly. A boy of noble birth pretends to be a demon of his own free will. And then I remembered your own childhood. In childhood I heard that parents thinking about infecting them daughter, and they didn't allow her to go out from rooms. They said that all he does is eat. They called him her greedy, and when she chose clothes, they claimed that it wouldn't suit her. And she always has it. They took everything and gave it away. This her sister. They called her sister with an angel, and she was very hurt this here. She didn't even remember anymore, whether once upon a time such small. For some reason immediately I liked it. This brave choice, but it slow destroys it, and then it will be difficult to restore it reputation. Masha said that woman can't even imagine how suffered their young master. Edwin, he believed that the maid should not contradict, because the countess was right, and he had no other choice. Karen, I was shocked at how far Edwin had to go to protect your city, but after he can do this, stay with nothing, and even lose the title. However, the guy insisted that the title belonged to him, and he won't let anyone take it away. This child claims its own legal place. She approved and put forward proposal, from which impossible refuse. After what did he ask about? Whether another way retain the title. She confidently stated that there is no choice. He must hand over control to a trusted person by his city face and go with her to the capital. There he will become her student until he came of age. Further events started to develop rapidly. To take the young Duke Edwin to the capital, how his student had to decide set complex questions. But for Karen, this did not become an obstacle. The red tape had already been completed, and the manager, who appropriated money, hiding behind land tax, and concealed the death of the Duke, was exposed. He was removed, and a competent employee with a friendly attitude was appointed in his place. Reputation. This young woman promised that will do everything that is in her power will be work selflessly, but she didn't understand how the countess could do this to her. Karen asked what the problem was, and the girl admitted that hates similar performances, despite the fact that exactly she provided costumes and makeup. Karen stopped and made it clear that now you just need to introduce yourself, because Edwin will come soon. She introduced the girl how lady from the Summers house, which will govern its territories for following 4 years. Then she introduced the young Duke to her, and Madame was amazed. The acquaintance has passed politely, and it became clear that he was not at all like the one rumored to be. Boy asked Karen, they'll go whether they now in the capital, but she decided that at first need to arrange the last performance. The final act was announced. How sad news of the death of his lordship, the Duke, respected elders royal house and protector borderlands, and everyone was experiencing unbearable sorrow. Also, it was said about the manager, who slandered the young Duke and spread rumors, calling him a demon. Today they are gathered to see him off to study in the capital. No one could believe that he is a medium. Then Karen took his hand and made it clear that it's time for them to go. Everyone was shocked when saw young Edwin. They called him a demon, but he looked as if a real angel. His appearance, it dawned on me all around, as if the light emanating from the handsome young Duke. Judging by the reaction crowds, this was real success. The boy himself seems to be the same, I'm glad about that. He was experiencing strong excitement that was noticeable by his behavior around Karen. I have never stood in front of so many people before. Until now, he hasn't been. I'm sure that moving to the capital is the right thing to do, choice, and that he can handle it. Looking at this child, Karen remembered their own year's studies. Once upon a time, she herself believed all this nonsense, and I didn't understand who in their right mind would stick to theories when a miracle happens right before your eyes. Then, her teacher advised her to leave from countries. After all, she already did more than enough. Is all because the place did not recognize her merits and only destroyed her. She came back often thoughts about the past, therefore decided support him and point out that he is handsome and good appearance is big advantage. He was embarrassed when he heard this, and I thought, really, whether she thinks he's handsome, and she noted that from the point of view he almost knows anatomy flawless, although not her type. He still more, I was embarrassed, and didn't know how behave after these words. That's why Madame only soft smiled, watching how awkwardly and shyly he sits. She stroked his head and said that he had, necessarily, all it will work out. She chose him, so he should believe her. He has really eyes how oceans. Because of this, he was embarrassed, and she stroked his head again. Here, that's when he started thinking about her. This city residence, Mondratov. From this moment, they will be live here. Therefore, Sir must be located. Karen, I turned to the teacher and said that she arrived, but he didn't understand who they such. As a joke, Karen asked, "Really does he have it?" Developed feeble-mindedness. And the teacher called her wretch. Karen said that now is not the time for jokes. After all, she brought a student. She decided introduce Edwina with her teacher and asked him to go greet him. The teacher with contempt examined it. And he also asked who that lady was behind. And then Karen said that this is Nanny Edwina. And the maid introduced herself. Between them, as if arose some kind of spark, the teacher immediately suggested show her the mansion and took Masha by the hand. Karen not quite, I understood why he was acting so strangely. Myself leads. Edwin was surprised that she lives with her teacher, and she said that they live together, so he asked how regarding other members her families. Then Karen reported that there are none, and the teacher is hers, the only one family. And so it will be always, boy, I didn't even know what this was about answer. Butler reported that room Edwina is already prepared, so they can pass. That's why she asked that Butler helped Edwin unpack things, and told Masha about her responsibilities. The man asked Edwin if he really doesn't he know anything, and Shining Smile reminded his sweet smile moms he shouldn't at all was born because of him father lost the crown. From Edwin they will disown him, just like they did his father. Here such Edwin had nightmares. To him came up, Karen said he was scared, her with his cry. Boy was surprised when saw in the middle nights his teacher. He asked what she here does, and she said that came in check how he was settling in, and asked for an apology for the fact that entered without permission. She believed that, to him, I dreamed about it, bad dream, and he said that in the dream saw father. And it looks like he must be having a nightmare weren't very good relationship with father. Perhaps this is the reason for his concern, although in such moments needed to console. That's why she stroked his head, and he patted her a little, became embarrassed. She smiled him, so he's a little calmed down. She did everything as correct now she educates child, but after this, I decided that he already feels it myself better, and began to leave. Tomorrow for them to come learn a lot and do a lot visit, so he should find to have a rest. In the morning he woke up, he was very warm. The teacher said that today they will be very busy. That's why to him need to hurry up, but when he got up, he immediately met the teacher, only I'm surprised he's so fast woke up. And I forgot knock, next time she will more carefully. She invited him to come with her, eat, Edwin exceeded all expectations. He was smart, good-studied, grasped everything on the fly. He mastered it basics, etiquette, and norms communication in higher education light. He mastered the manners and qualities that must to possess a nobleman. Politics, economics, social sciences, philosophy, mathematics, and art. He's fast understood the areas that are considered complicated, only. Results invariably surpassed expectations. Therefore, I was glad about his success. Seeing him working until late nights, she thought, I remembered myself in my youth, and her heart filled up pride. How she is in childhood. Same I studied until late so that faster all learn. That's why she became interested. She felt whether her teacher did the same, looking at her. This is what it's about, she thought, watching Edwin. The best successor it was impossible to find. Intuition she didn't let her down. She did really correct choice. Time flew by unnoticed. Her teacher did proposal to Masha. 4 years it's been a while since Edwin arrived in the capital. to Rian, and the teacher asked that Karen brought it to him more herbal fees. The girl said that the room already smelled of herbs, and she doesn't understand why to him more. He called her impudent, because in the cold, the teacher's sharply arthritis worsens, and they also experienced small changes. The teacher and Masha got married and arranged wedding ceremony in just 6 months after meeting, and their ardent love does not fade to this day. Masha asked how he was feels, and believed that he again didn't say anything to the countess, but he noticed that she ordered to him good take care of the duke, because Masha is worried. Karen decided go visit Edwina, to don't bother them, and I'm still surprised. Observed such passionate love between the teacher and Masha, though she saw it there cooing every single day. She is being asked question, is there a person in this world who I would change the same thing her? Love is heavy feeling, because she constantly remembers your own childhood. She decided that the thought is simply useless, and knocked on Edwin's door. She said that comes in, and at first I didn't see him. But when she noticed that he was changing clothes and was shocked, I saw him already as an adult body. She asked in surprise. Hadn't heard whether he had it, but he replied that he probably had said too quiet. Oh, that's right, Edwin. Grew up, therefore she's already embarrassed this. Now he's already years old, he really is a grown guy. Karen said it was time to go to work, but he hadn't come out yet, so she decided only call him. She returned to his room, and he asked, give to him a minute, bending over in front of the teacher. She herself didn't notice how high became Edwin. He said that she had behind sticks out collar shirts, so he wants to fix it. She was such carefree, thanked him for it, and only a little became embarrassed. He said that it's a trifle. All he has to do is put on his waistcoat, so she should more a little wait. Now it's not her, but Edwin takes care of her. This is already kind of strange feeling. She told Edwin that she couldn't believe that he is already 4 years' works under its beginning. He came for the first time here very small, not understanding anything child. He was really young, but now became adults, and the day when he becomes king is just around the corner. He grew up so handsome that became real and eligible bachelor. Suddenly, he turned to her young guy, and Neat explained that when compiling budget ran into a small but confusing problem, so I would like the director to pay close attention to this, took a look, and helped me figure it out. When she for a short while stepped aside, Edwin noticeably, his face changed, his expression became more stern, and he no longer hid his own discontent. What is happening straight away caught my eye. She calmly asked where exactly arose complexity, and the guy is a little confused, but still confident, pointed to the right one section of the document, trying to explain that exactly causes him doubts. She decided that he just wants. She helped me figure out the problem, but at that moment, the guy noticeably blushed, as if realized that situation looks like a little awkward and even weird. He approached her already in the garden. Edwin reminded that a similar case had already arisen last year, and the problem had been resolved. Enough fast thanks to attentiveness and experience. He added that, if she just looked last year's documents, then I was able to do it without much difficulty, would eliminate current problem, without spending excess time for extra explanations and guesses. She silently stretched out to him back documents, making it clear that now he can on one's own figure it out. After all, the solution was almost on the surface and required only attention. The guy is noticeable, got scared, when suddenly I felt a heavy and attentive pressure on me cite Edwina, in which it was read discontent and obvious expectation that similar it won't happen again. He hurriedly stated that the problem had already been resolved and added that they together with the teacher, they will continue working, trying no more distractions and no more creating extra inconveniences. As noted Edwin, next time he should have would at first thoroughly study question to yourself first, how turn to her so as not to waste someone else's time for that can decide on one's own. She was sincerely, I am grateful for the help, but still reminded that it's impolite to interrupt people, though he really did. A little. It's awkward. After all, the situation turned out to be unexpected, and even a little funny. Suddenly, Edwin asked her quite a question, unexpected the question of interest, whether her romantic relationship, and his serious tone made think about that. This is not just random interest. This sounded unexpected, and he explained that for everything time with their first meetings, I have never seen that she showed interest in someone or spent time with someone in that way. Honestly speaking, she admitted that considers romantic relationship empty waste time because she has. There is more important affairs and goals on which she prefers concentrate. She also noticed that, rather in general, no one will want to date her because she doesn't look especially cute or attractive, at least to her it seemed. Such words are true, surprised Edwina. He clearly didn't expect it. Hear similar opinion from her, and even for a moment thought about her words. Then she added that she simply doesn't belong to those people who capable to attract attention of this kind, and this her quite suits. She noted that here, her sister Carla certainly could attract attention, but Edwin objected that teacher looks like more what is beautiful, and this it was said quite well seriously. The lady noticed that in fact, she is much better off more. I like spending time with him, because she is next to him, feels myself calmly and confidently. From these, he noticeably spoke words I was embarrassed, and still tried say that she really beautiful, but she soft. She stopped him, asking him not to say too much and not to flatter. He tried again to repeat that she really beautiful, but she didn't listen any further and simply headed to the office, keeping habitual calmness. After some time, the lady was relieved noted that they managed to cope with by everyone affairs before sunset, and this was pleasant completion, busy day. Edwin reported that he too finished their tasks, and now they have enough left free time, so he suggested take a walk to the square and have a little get distracted. Madam agreed that take a rest would not bad for a change, and Sir also confirmed that fully ready set off together with her and spend it time calmly. After some time, at some point, a guy came up to them and said, "Madam, what her HRH Queen Sinetti wishes her see," and this the message sounded pretty suddenly. They were both a little surprised, because of this, them had to change their plans that seemed already resolved and quite pleasant. Karen, I asked again, really whether her HRH, the Queen, wants see exactly her, trying make sure that didn't happen, no errors. After this, she went to the lady, noting to herself that I heard that young the gentleman has already managed get comfortable in the capital, and feel I'm pretty there confidently. Karen is not completely. I understood why Madame so suddenly decided call her. After all, none there are obvious reasons for this. At first look, there was none. Courtier, he already managed to master etiquette master. Therefore, Queen Sinetti considered that it came time move to the palace, and continue training is already on the new one level. Rumors about her, the adult cousin, and the young countess have already begun spread throughout the yard, becoming overgrown with details and guesses that only strengthened interest surrounding. Karen was I was surprised by this turn of events, and didn't understand who at all could think of something like this conclusions, because for her, it seemed absolutely ridiculous. She calmly made it clear that between them, there are only relationship teacher and student, and nothing more, without leaving room for ambiguous interpretations. Queen Sinetti noted that she was well aware of the Countess's piety and appreciated her character, because she often was able to cheer up and even brighten it up heavy days. However, the Queen reminded that it is not worth it, forget about the present, the reason why was called young Duke. After all, talk touched were more serious things. At this moment, I suddenly realized clearly what it was for all leads, and in her head started all the details that were there before will come together seemed scattered. The reason for them today's invitations to this house was that the Queen intended make young Duke Edwin hereditary Prince Kingdoms. From this news, young man involuntarily shuddered, as if he hadn't been there ready hear similar decision, despite its position and expectations surrounding. Karen collected thoughts and stated that all understands and will prepare all necessary for the young Duke's quick departure to the palace. She made it clear that fully will take over responsibility for preparation, showing that it is you can rely on such an important point. After these, the Duke looked like a word strange. His expression faces changed, as if inside him was happening struggle with one's own thoughts. They left the room, and he lowered his head, as if heaviness what she heard put pressure on him, and did not let him perceive what is happening. Karen was caught off guard and barely touched her food, because she didn't expect the Queen to be the first will raise this topic, as if in advance all predicted. Gradually became clear that all was decided long before this day, and there they just put it in front of what was already accepted solution. Edwin couldn't understand why his teacher didn't tell him about this important decision in advance. After all, this concerned his whole life. The thought never left him that, all this time, performing her, he had no instructions for her, none values, except how means achievements goals. However, young woman, she just made it clear that she didn't understand what he was talking about, as if sincerely not realizing the depth of his experiences. Surprise situations only was getting stronger. After all, decision on inheritance was announced without preparation, and it seemed that explanations were not considered necessary. He thought about how would she did if he would have renounced the throne, and I'm sure that she just found I would have another student without going against the queen's will. After all, in 5 years, she should was to raise a worthy ruler who corresponded would to everyone requirements and expectations. Otherwise, she had to lose the life to which she was so eager and so diligently held. She couldn't deny that at that time desperately tried protect your own position, and this influenced many her solutions. If would Edwin didn't measure up to everyone requirements, she really could have chosen someone else a long time ago, more a suitable candidate. He thought that is for her special that exactly. That's why I chose him, but now understood that I was wrong. In fact, it suited her would anyone who corresponded requirements for the crown prince. Karen tried to explain that at first all was exactly like that, but with time much changed. But he did not accept these words. At that moment, he finally realized who was for her all this time. And the realization turned out to be painful. Karen involuntarily, I remembered herself in the past, and how she told her teacher that she didn't need consolation. Then same only realized your own family status, and the situation seemed painful to her, familiar and heavy. Edwin suggested head to the square, noticing that she was probably hungry after total what happened. When they come out, Madame turned pay attention to the weather today, marvelous nice and calm. Thoughts about food started come back. After all, she really was very hungry after tense conversation. Walking next to her, Edwin and his appearance seemed depressed, as if he was all I still couldn't come to my senses. She was hard pretend that everything is fine. After all, she didn't expect that the decision will affect him so much. Lost in her memories, she paused for a moment. I was lost in my thoughts, and didn't immediately I realized that, say in such a way, situations. In the end, she just walked up to the stall and bought herself some cotton candy, trying at least a little take a break from the hard stuff thoughts. Edwin was surprised when saw how Karen beret cotton candy and childhood memories straight away surged over him, filling him heart with warmth and lightness sadness. When he was very little, Karen often bought him this one sweetness, and then he thought that it's just soft toy or cloud, like magical treat. She explained him that this is not a cloud, but a real one, cotton candy, and that's it. That's why I wanted him to try her for the first time. I felt taste childhood. Exactly. Then he did it, for the first time, tried to taste it, and the moment turned out to be magical, as if the whole world around stopped, and time became soft and sweet. Karen asked Edwin remember this taste, till later he could compare her with other sweets, and understand that exactly to him, like more total. This was need to just in order to understand his preferences, and what kind of treats to give to him real joy and pleasure. Edwin, forever, I remember that smile Karen, her shining eyes and tenderness with which she handed it to him, cotton candy. It stayed warm memory for years to come. And she, in turn, remembered his beautiful eyes, lungs, embarrassment, and how children's joy reflected in his gaze, making it even more special. Now they bought cotton candy again, and Edwin was in pain, looked at Karen, remembering childhood, when all it was simpler and easier, and the heart shrank from memories. Karen didn't understand what it was. It's a matter of fact he once loved so much, and was happy about it every moment together. But now I saw that in his gaze, something has changed. Now he looked enough serious and tense, and Karen I remembered his words about how he was mistaken in her attitude towards him, and this all explained. At that moment, I realized that it was probably this misunderstanding was the cause of his hidden pain and tension, and she wanted to correct situation. She asked if they could whether they talk calmly, so they came up to the bench to sit down, and the space between them was filled with quiet anticipation. At first, they silently sat, feeling awkwardness, as if every word was worth its weight in gold, and the silence between them stretched on long cobwebs. In fact, she brought Edwin. It's not by chance that she's here. It was the ideal candidate for the role of crown prince, and she thoroughly chose who to raise. Edwin confirmed that he himself did everything. This understands, realizing that his destiny was closely associated with attention, Karen, and the decisions that she accepted. All it was okay, after all, exactly thanks to this, is how he met her, and these years' training became for him time discoveries and important vital lessons. Galena noticed that the choice fell on him exactly according to her own solution, and this solution played a fateful role in his life and in the formation their relations. When they for the first time met, Karen as if saw in Edwin your own reflection. Childhood, complete loneliness, despair, and the struggle for life left traces in his eyes. I saw an unloved child abandoned by his parents and realized that fate had forced him to grow up in difficult circumstances, conditions, developing strength and resilience character. This was a child who desperately fought for life, did not give up, and his desire to survive reminded her of her own children's experiences and attempts be noticed. That's why she told that her sister Carla was very sweet and loved, would no matter where she went, her always surrounded by care, attention, and love, as if magical aura. And with Karen all was on the contrary, parents rarely noticed her effort, and attention was minimal, leaving feeling loneliness and need prove myself. Exactly. That's why she learned to be independent from a young age, and hoped that, if we'll become smart and strong, parents, although they would turn it around once attention to her achievements. But as if mockery of everyone her through efforts, the sister was canonized, and her own the efforts turned out to be almost unnoticed, and did not have the same power impacts. In the face of a miracle that had not happened for 100 years, all of her achievements seemed meaningless dots against the backdrop of greatness, Carla and her holiness. The senior mentor, scolded him and ordered him to devote himself entirely caring for her sister, emphasizing that her life should rotate around the merits of others. Was to live for Carla, and probably, so she thought so, if there wouldn't be a teacher nearby who directed I noticed her talents and supported in difficult times moments. Teacher Von Neumann managed make out her abilities from a young age and showed faith in her, giving the opportunity, open up, and show what you're capable of, she capable of it, in fact case. Only thanks to him, Karen became who she was, and now I also wanted to become one for Edwin, a man who will help recognize its value and guide it through life. When Edwin heard these words, his face sharp changed, emotions and memories mixed in the gaze, revealing the depth of how many means for him her attention. She wanted to be that person for him who sees its value, helps and guides the way, and is not just a teacher performing duty and formative future prince. Karen realized that she was leaving Edwin all this time, without thinking about what kind of teacher she was for him, and was afraid that he could be disappointed so much, so that will turn away. She didn't know that when he said that she is for him, more than a teacher, and took her by the hand, confirming the words with actions that warmed the soul and heart simultaneously. He admitted that she opened the world for him, and these 4 years were for real happy, filled discoveries and memories that will stay with him forever. If it weren't for her, Edwin would never found out the joy of sweets, including sugar cotton wool, which now symbolized childhood, trust, and special connection between them. Karen I am grateful for these words, and her performance it worked out long and full emotions. I became excited, feeling the warmth and sincerity moment. She wanted to say that, although at first goal was to raise him as a candidate for the throne, with time attitude changed, and he became more than just a student. She stopped seeing him as a student because Edwin became part her family, loved ones, a person to whom she wanted to give care, love, and support, as native. Karen apologized for not revealing the truth earlier, realizing that in his place she was shocked and upset by this revelations. However, her made me happy if he would become king, but if he doesn't have such a desire, there's no need to force. To choose must be free and conscious. He didn't make a decision accepted, she always will be proud of him, appreciate and respect him, because he is important to her, regardless of the titles and duties that fall on the shoulders. Although she said this, deep down inside, there was a thought. The question is, what will happen if he still refuses the crown and chooses a path that does not coincide with her expectations? He admitted that all more upset that she didn't tell him about it earlier, and this delay created mixed feelings in his soul, feelings and light irritation. Karen noted that there really are no excuses, and that's it. The recognition strengthened the feeling responsibility for one's actions and past solutions. Alt in turn hoped that there won't be any more secrets between them, that frankness and trust will become the foundation of their relations, allowing be honest with each other. Because Karen believed in Edwin, I'm sure he won't let me down, and cope with the responsibility that falls on him late in the kingdom. She asked, really does he promise? Support her, and Edwin noticed that there is no need to worry, because all will under control, and she will be able to rely on him. More than 100 days left before his arrival at the palace. 2 weeks, and I asked if is there a reason why he was called in advance, before how all will become officially? Queen Sinetti thought for a moment and remarked that she was really interested. Whether Edwin didn't know that will become heir, and this causes her lung doubt. Then, young human remembered how I asked Karen if he could, will he become as great as she, after all was afraid disappoint people, and understood that he would have to cope alone, difficult. Karen replied that everyone had, there are moments, doubts, and it is important to know who is nearby, who will support. Even she, the majestic queen, sometimes needed help with sides. Then Edwin asked, will it be whether Karen continue support him and stand by his side, when will come time accept serious solutions that will change his fate? She noted that her difficult stop when she full determination, but to be constant, the Lord's support can it will not be easy, and will require effort and patience. Then he told the queen that she overestimates him, but he himself understood that the status of a lord is not enough to cope with the responsibilities and expectations that fall upon him assigned. And then Queen Sinetti thought, Karen got into serious troubles. After all, her support could cause not only trust, but also envy with side's courtiers. However, it's good when the future ruler has goal and ambition. After all, this helps to stay on track and makes him ready for responsibility and challenges. She was impatient to see what king will become Edwin. How will he cope with power? What will be his character? And how much he can save trust and respect of people. Fashionable days, let's go to the palace, began preparing for the ceremony, birthday celebrations, Edwina, and the official proclaiming him as his heir throne, so that all looked majestically. Maybe it was worth it announced national holiday, but it could have been it's premature, because it's not even relative's son queen, and the people are not yet accustomed to his new role. But the queen has no one of her own children, and he inherits the throne by her will. Karen is already tired of the empty chatter courtiers, who argued over the details and formalities of the ceremony. That's why she asked Edwin help her with the preparation, but noticed that he was not around, and this slightly upset her. After all, I got used to his support and presence in everything. Still, it is not alien to anyone human, and she didn't want to let go his beloved student, realizing that connection there was something between them important and deep for all these years. To these words of the disciples, Karen got angry. After several years when she pulled Edwina followed her, forced her to work and instructed her, she felt awkward, because now I no longer worked with him. She felt his presence even at a distance, because for these years I got used to him, to his support and attention, and I understood that now it became part of her life. All 4 years, her efforts were just for this moment, for the sake of prepare Edwin to the role of heir, and make sure that he can cope with the future responsibility. Edwin will become a good king, and Karen was in this, I'm sure. After all, I saw his diligence, desire to learn, and sincerity caring for the people who surrounded him. She was already imagining the ceremony. She felt it, solemnity moment, and understood that did correct choice, preparing him for the royal life and role of a leader. But after total, she will have to do this to go away, to leave Edwin to study on his own, accept solutions and develop, because her permanent presence, maybe to him, interfere. He won't be able to forever rely on her, and if the teacher stays close to the new one king, rumors of intimacy and intrigue cannot be avoided, and reputation, both it will turn out under threat. Karen will force Edwina will become independent and return to scientific work, thinking about further research and understanding that it's time again, concentrate on work. She reported that she was already home and met Masha there, who was busy with affairs in the palace, and now Karen was sort out the news about the move Edwina. Masha asked why Karen came into the room. Edwina, indeed, usually I visited him only on important occasions, questions, and this caused Lung, both were surprised. Karen didn't understand that happened, and Masha reported that youngster reported that moved into the palace and now lives there permanently basis. Karen was, I'm surprised he did it. It's so fast after all I just said recently, that will leave on the next 1 week. She didn't expect such a rapid decisions on his part. Masha noted that details she doesn't know, but it seems that he was in a hurry and wanted to settle in the palace. How can rather than be ready for new responsibilities? And if she is so worried, Masha said that Karen may be right. He received a letter which will support Edwina in the new place and will encourage him when to him will need to calmness. He is in an unfamiliar place, and a letter from Karen for sure will give to him confidence, will help adapt and feel care even at a distance. When he first came to her estate, it was started overcome nightmares and anxiety dreams, and Karen understood that now to him, it is especially important attention and support. Besides, She taught Edwin herself write letters, developing his powers of expression thoughts, and helping not only to learn, but also to show concern for people who are dear to him. He even I practiced by writing one letter for her, and it became a small proof that he was ready to perceive and transmit emotions, as well as strengthen connection with her. But Karen herself, I never wrote him letters, realizing that her care is expressed otherwise, through instructions, advice, and constant presence in his life, and not through words on paper. Now, Karen was getting ready to do this for the first time. For the first time in her life, when she has to show what she's capable in front of such an important event, and she felt lung excitement. She turned to Masha, asking sure whether what Edwin, this I'll like it, and the nanny is just confirmed that all it will go smoothly, and he will appreciate it, her efforts. Masha reported that will bring all necessary for preparation, and besides, young Sir cooked for Karen a small gift to this moment became more special. In the palace organized solemn birthday reception, Edwin and his official proclamations air thrown, and the atmosphere was truly festive. The banquet was a success magnificent, with luxurious dishes and exquisite serving. Each a corner of the hall was shining candles and gold decorations, creating feeling real royal fairy tales. Karen didn't expect that, in honor of the only one relatives of Queen Sinetti, and some guests will be able to try rare delicacies that added a special shine event. But the guests have already started whisper and ask where the queen herself is, because her presence always gave a special weight for any event. And suddenly, all eyes turned to Countess Karen, who appeared in the hall with a special grace, like the very atmosphere of the holiday emphasized her presence. Guests suggested that she suddenly remembered about her marriage age. Or is it this her care? How guardian Edwina forced her choose such exquisite clothing. Edwin turned out to be this a sly one, because the gift was intended devoted to Masha, turned out to be exactly dress, and Karen I was almost taken aback by the surprise. Everyone started welcome legal queen, whose reputation and posture were causing respect, and her appearance filled the hall with solemnity and grandeur. After this announced Duke Edwin's exit, and the guests' attention again focused on the young but confident figure future ruler. They came out in paired outfits, Edwin arm in arm with the queen. Their gait was majestic, like every step emphasized status and importance moment. All guests started inclined heads and worshiped them, showing your own respect and admiration for the future heir throne and queen, who walked nearby. Karen noticed that Edwin was wearing was brooch, which she gave it to him earlier, and this warmed her heart because it turned out to be a gift perfect selected for the event. He looked really beautiful, especially with this outstanding brooch, which emphasized his status and gave his image a special elegance. Karen thought that brooch will do, it's perfect, that's why I bought it. In advance, trying to take into account all the details and make the moment really memorable. It's good that she sent her along with the letter. After all, now this small gesture turned into a symbol of trust and care that was noticed by everyone around. She noticed that among crowds, Edwin looks exactly on her, and this sight forced her heart fight faster, reminding of the deep connections between them. He was glad that the teacher wore the same thing. Dress, after all, this met his expectations and added to the celebration special harmony and joy. Later, the queen said that he should keep the right face, and Edwin instantly accepted serious expression, as required by protocol and royal traditions. And suddenly, he noticed that one of women were not persuaded heads. Her sight remained calm and confident, that attracted attention and caused interest. Karen was already curious why the woman did not bow, and she followed the development situations, trying to understand the reason for such an unusual behavior. So, it began quiet confrontation. And Karen haven't been there yet. I'm sure it's worth it, should she interfere after all. She didn't want to disturb the order and etiquette of the celebration. The queen thought that the king should be able to cope with such things situations on your own. After all, the one who can't give rebuff your own subjects, unworthy throne. After the queen allowed this to everyone raise your head, and the hall is filled easy relief. After all, voltage gradually subsided, and attention focused on the important events. Karen was grateful for the opportunity to take part in a birthday celebration. His cousin Edwin, after all, she will remember this moment for a long time. How important event. Before how begin official statements, she for a long time thought about it, questioned inheritance and throne, because she didn't have one spouse, and responsibility went to bed entirely on her shoulders. That's why she announced that adopts Duke Edwin and proclaims him heir prince, taking a step that will change the fate of the kingdom and everyone present. Edwin was I'm surprised. After all, she didn't mention adoption before. But Karen explained that now everyone should contact him as a prince, cementing his new status. She also asked for his hand and put it on her finger ring, symbolizing trust, power, and officialdom acceptance of the role of heir, securing this moment forever. Putting on finger ring Edwina, Karen declared him the heir all that belongs to her, making this symbolic act of transfer powers and care. Now there was no doubt that he would become next the king, and all those present felt solemnity moment, realizing that Story Kingdom's changes. Karen believed that it's really great. After all her effort and dedication, the matter brought results, and she could proudly watch how Edwin accepts my new status. Since already Edwin officially proclaimed prince, Karen believed that the work is done. After all, the goal is preparation heir and his official recognition achieved. Now it came time hand over responsibilities. After all, every step that she undertook was aimed at prepare Edwina for the future role and give to him confidence. But after this, Edwin approached her, and Karen was surprised how he did it quickly this step. After all, I haven't had time yet fully realize events evenings. He invited her to share a dance with him, and an unexpected gesture forced Karen feel lung embarrassment. After all, she didn't expect such initiatives from the future king. Because of this, she was embarrassed, but in her joy appeared in my heart, because the invitation meant trust and recognition, her role in life, Edwina, and in this important event. Many guests were upset, because they hoped that exactly their will be invited to the first dance, counting this special an honor and an important moment of the evening. They understood that change situation. It's impossible. After all, Karen was teacher Edwina, but still felt disappointment and light envy. Karen asked Edwin if he knew, how much distinguished guests are expected first dance, and indeed, whether they are waiting for him with such excitement. Edwin replied that knows, and Karen clarified why he then chose exactly her for this important moment at the ball. He said that exactly, that's why I invited her, because for him, it was important, and he wanted to highlight her among the rest of the guests. Besides, he received a gift, and was surprised how she managed to choose brooch, which perfect matched his suit as if created for him. Karen responded by asking if she thought, that she doesn't know his taste in clothes, after so many years together, training and collaboration time. Edwin turned out to be very close to her, smiling so warmly and sweetly that every gesture of his face seemed thoughtful and sincere. He looked unusually pleasant, soft and kind, as if the whole evening was dedicated exclusively to the point that to please Karen, your own attention. They continued to move smoothly in the dance, and everyone around only watched, surprised their harmony and ease of movement, as if time slowed down for them. They are closely watched, observed the girl who I didn't bow my head before, and now her sight was full of interest and slight admiration. I realized that Edwin really did, I like his presence, forces heart fight more often, and thoughts lose clarity. The noble prince was as if right next to her legs, and she felt like closeness to him excites her feelings, and at the same time fills with awe. She wanted to ignite the fire of passion in him, but now Karen, with calmness and dignity, interfered like a wall between them. Karen, his own confidence and businesslike manner, got on her nerves, and irritation only strengthened wish girls intervene in what is happening. After these thoughts, Karen turned to Edwin and congratulated him on his birthday doing it so natural and warm that the atmosphere around has become softer. Edwin was sincerely grateful to her for the congratulations. His eyes glowed, and smiled showed that for him, it meant more than words can express. He noted that hopes that Karen will congratulate him next year too, and this said so calmly that in it shone through hope for a continuation their connections. But Karen I didn't know yet. It will remain whether she is next to Edwin for another whole year, and this uncertainty slightly worried her heart. She smiled and said that, of course, after what calmly left, leaving Edwin thoughtful and a little confused. After her upon leaving, he heard that someone approached him, and it was unexpectedly, as if sudden the appearance of a new character in the scene evenings. Turning around, he saw a woman with dark hair. Her sight was confident and a little challenging, that straightaway attracted attention Edwina. She introduced herself as Jenna from Marquisate Pax, asking permission officially get to know each other and show politeness and tact. Also I asked, maybe whether be honored honor dance with him, and there was a hint of it in her tone, lung-daring expectation. This young woman was the one who I didn't bow my head before, and now her presence straight away reminded me of that look, full of call. Jenna was the only one daughter Marquise Pax, and her social status immediately did her significant figure among the nobles, causing respect and interest. Marquis Pax possessed high authority in the Council of Nobles, and acquaintance with his daughter could play it will be to Edwin's advantage in the future affairs and intrigues. Edwin filed Jenna's hand, hoping for her favor, and she in return smiled, as if confirming that she is ready to dance, and for new one's connections. Up close, she looked more attractive, and Edwin couldn't help but notice how gracefully and confidently she moved, attracting views everyone around. Karen was tired, but noticed that he asked to dance Lady Jenna from Family's Pax, and understood that this an important step for him and his future. Considering her status it was a good choice from a political and social point of view, and Karen couldn't help but appreciate it. This moment is pragmatic. However, Karen didn't understand why. Now she can't find a place for herself, and felt strange internal confusion and discomfort. Maybe she was unusual see Edwina is next to her peer, and this is mixed feelings in her, causing easy jealousy and anxiety. Edwin was beaming and looked very sweet and attractive, and Karen felt like her heart slightly squeezed with excitement and feelings. She felt a bit uneasy, and she decided leave to collect thoughts and emotions. Give yourself a little space and time for reflection. Meanwhile, Edwin continued dance with Jenna. Their movements were harmonious, and smiles are sincere, creating around an atmosphere of lightness and grace. But Edwin noticed that Karen left, and his gaze slightly darkened, because he felt the emptiness that remained after her care. Jenna noted that they seemed close to the countess, and she felt a little, it's sad, because in noble circles, origin and age could be an insignificant factor. These words made me angry, Edwina, and he mentally decided that no one dares to insult his teacher, especially when speech it's about Karen. Jenna said that she only says how there is, and I didn't mean to offend, but Edwin felt unpleasant feeling and inner irritation. He let go her hand, and this action caused Jenna lung surprise. After all, she didn't expect it such reactions to your words and gestures. She noted that I heard about him a lot, because his childhood was not easy, and this knowledge did her interest in him more alive and conscious. Jenna grabbed him and moved closer, as if intending kiss, and in her eyes it was read the desire to demonstrate control and power over the situation. Edwin was horrified and asked what she does, feeling internal resistance and reluctance give in to such impulses. She leaned down and kissed his jacket, leaving a mark there, lipstick as a symbol of one's influence and desire for him to belong to her. She stated that wishes that he was her, uniting her influence and wealth, they will be able to conquer the world together, but Edwin decisively refused. When he returned to the dance, the girl said that he would definitely will regret his refusal, but Edwin didn't even show it, causing her astonishment. I'm used to getting everything I want wishes, but now encountered resistance that was for her new and unusual. Basic Industry Rihanna was a livestock farm, and the owners the pastures lived in luxury, enjoying well-being and high social status. Among them is the Marquis Pax, was considered one of the richest, and his daughter Jenna was the only one heiress, huge states and influences. Many men have tried conquer Jenna, looking at her position, but I was never interested easy prey, choosing own goals. However, this man turned out to be different, handsome and arrogant, that caused in Jenna wish achieve it is his attention and disposition. He was attractive and confident, and therefore Jenna decided that obliged get it, regardless of obstacles and circumstances around. His daughter Jenna was the only one heiress huge state that belonged her family for many generations. This did her center of attention and the envy of many. Many men courted her, admiring her position and wealth, but Jenna, I was never interested easy prey. I was looking for something more that could really her impress. However, this man turned out to be different. He didn't measure up. Ordinary expectations, his charisma and cold charm attracted her attention, what this hasn't happened to others before. Handsome, arrogant, self-confident, and that's it. That's why she decided that I have to get it. Jenna felt that this man is a challenge, that she obliged accept, if she will be able to destroy what is dear to the prince's heart, so he certainly will turn to her attention, and will come to her, as if by her will, strategy, and cunning plan. That's why Jenna decided start with the woman who manifests itself as his teacher. She knew that exactly this will allow her to get closer to the prince and make him reaction. Karen, meanwhile, came to her bed. Her legs were sick after long day, and I couldn't even understand who at all came up with dance and heels, bringing myself to such a degree fatigue. Still, there is nothing better ordinary, comfortable clothes that do not restrict movements. And at that moment, she noticed that today she received a letter, attracting her attention among fatigue. The letter looked shabby, as if been through a lot, countries and adventures, before how end up in her hands. Its content promised to be important and unusual. When she started reading this letter, as my hands started shaking, my heart started beating faster, sensing that information in it will change her plans or life, causing fear and interest at the same time. It seemed to have passed whole eternity. Her previous letters remained unanswered, and now this letter will become the last chance for some kind of contact, which may be all change. Carla asked her mother if the carriage was ready. There was a hint of impatience and light anxiety. After all, upcoming drive promised to be significant and exciting. She was informed that everything is ready, and you can to go. Organization was impeccable, and this added confidence that the road would pass calmly and without problems. She smiled his own mother and said that she herself was ready too. In her eyes shone anticipation meetings and joy for the future events that will change her day. Because she is going to Rion, and reported this in a letter his own sister. Journey promised to be important. And Karen, I wanted to share this in advance news with the most close ones by a person. She wrote that her younger sister would come to visit her. The problem was that Carla was always around Karen, called feeling own insignificance, despite all the love. Once upon a time in childhood, Karen said that she told Carla not to talk to strangers. At that time, she kept a strict eye on her sister, considering this manifestation care and precautions. But Carla replied that that one is not stranger. The uncle had already treated her sweets, and the sister explained that all this only because of the fact that Karen, she can be mean and strict. Carla advised be kinder. She added that then will appear the opportunity to get sweets by transforming lessons life in soft, friendly reminders of values. The child who charmed others with the charm that Karen didn't have, always got more attention. Her sister seemed to be the center of attraction to which everyone was drawn around. That's why now Karen, I really wanted her see. In her, my heart grew with excitement and anticipation meetings. After all, childhood memories and feelings, nursing proximity returned with force. A man approached her and said that need to approve something today, but Karen said that I'm busy now. After all, her thoughts fully were busy preparing for arrival sisters. I thought that something happened, since they are contacting us specifically to her. This made the heart fight faster and more provocative, easy anxiety. After all, I never knew in advance that expect. Carla was coming soon, and Karen couldn't stop her. Flow memories. They rolled on, intensifying her nervousness, and forcing heart fight quickened with anticipation. If believe the letter, they will arrive about 6 months later. It's been many years, and she again felt myself like in childhood, with the same emotions, excitement and awe of the unknown. That's why now better focus on the documents. Karen was surprised when saw their content. After all, it turned out to be more complex and important than she expected initially. This was hunting festival, and the man reported that hopes that it will take place this year. The event promised to be grandiose and attract attention of many influential people in the kingdom. He spoke, "This is for the queen and the crown prince." His words were of an official nature, emphasizing significant events and their impact on the situation families and nobility. And then, Edwin, I realized that the man just wants demonstrate power his own families. It was clear for each details, after all. All it was done for the sake of visibility and status. Edwin noted that the festival was abolished previous king. In the last time in the kingdom, there were almost no events held that did return holiday especially noticeable. Therefore, the man believes that the festival will be presented beautiful, the opportunity to establish connections with the nobility. This strategic a move aimed at strengthening influence and creation new unions. However, now that Karen became a mother, her heart is filling up pride, and she doesn't hide it, desires to brag your own son, showing to everyone as precious her heir. At first, Karen tried not to interfere in children's affairs, quarreling Edwina, but now she realized that it came time demonstrate to everyone, as far as outstanding what will be her fate, child. To this show, she suggested organize hunting festival, bright event that collected the whole world court nobility and demonstrated skills there. Marquise was sincerely thankful her to His Highness for permission to conduct holiday, understanding what meaning this has for reputation young families. However, after he left, Edwin reported that personally against participation in such event, showing caution and maturity unexpected for his age. Queen Sinetti did not understand his refusal, because he was sitting in the saddle confidently, and in handling the sword he was perfect as inborn warrior. Case it wasn't about skills, but about the fact that on a large scale, a holiday without the Queen's constant supervision, there will be those who will try make him look bad light. Edwin didn't want to give to no one opportunity use myself, realizing that the slightest error maybe be used against him or his family. The Queen noticed that Karen always taught him that a ruler must be perfect, and exactly he owes this follow in any circumstances. But Edwin emphasized that the mentor also said that it is not necessary to cope with all alone, and this gave him confidence in support. The Queen agreed that Karen taught him right, because a true monarch is a symbol of power that obliged combine wisdom and strength at the same time. Power, like it is known, may be based on fear that is born from cruelty and severity, forcing subordinates are afraid to commit error, or on the devotion caused benefit when people choose follow the ruler, proceeding from personal benefit, not sincerity fidelity. But Edwin didn't measure up none of these conditions, leaving the Queen thoughtful, because the power and influence come to those who knows how to manage people. Find real power will be, it's extremely difficult, but he still does it, more able to keep undesirables in check using his wisdom and skill to foresee actions of others. He said that he is the crown prince, and this status gives to him certain advantage, though true strength requires more a lot to become complete. The Queen judged that that's right, now he's her son, and the status of a prince allows he can show his beauty and talent, like fieldflower obeying strength roses. Sorry, Karen. Too much inexperienced student, and in unpredictable situations, she often gets lost, not knowing how act without help or advice. If Edwin will think critically and thoughtfully, he will be able to overcome difficulties. But in this world, not everyone obeys laws and rules. He will survive, but not everything in life obey rules and logic. Therefore, wisdom and caution become his main allies on the path to power. Edwin was, I'm grateful for the advice. After all, this was last one audience, and now he wanted to leave, so that think about heard and prepare for further actions. Karen allowed to him leave, and without stopping, he turned around and headed to his room, where silence and opportunity awaited him concentrate. After the prince's departure, he was worshipped, and then Madame sent all the servants, wanting to leave peace in the hall and give time to think about the future. One servant reported that came with a report, and the Queen had to listen to him, after all information touched security and condition of the courthouse. It turned out that last at night, the killer entered the countess's estate, which confirmed danger and the need for strict control over security. It was clear to the Queen that she completely right in her fears. After all, any delays could cost life innocent and weaken the authority of the authorities. She reported that it is necessary to introduce the security that will be able to protect against possible threats and comply with all measures security pending clarification everyone's circumstances. If action security will be precise and well coordinated, then they can easily stop attackers, preventing new ones' tragedies in the kingdom. But I understood that I couldn't protect her forever. And then earlier, Edwin will begin to be aware dangers and learn from them, the better to prevent, the better for everyone. Marquise Jenna was furious, believing that she had paid huge money, and the security couldn't even handle the girl, causing her feeling powerlessness. However, the man reported that security on the spot, the matter turned out to be more serious than expected, and precautions are necessary to avoid the worst. The lady shouted that she had no personal soldiers, because she only the said noblewoman, and the man noted that her actions are difficult to predict, and this complicates protection. Maybe it's worth it eliminate her in the palace, but she said that the man seemed to think the Queen was stupid, and that was it. Discussion ended, leaving everyone in suspense. He hasn't met her in person, so he doesn't know that Queen Sinetti, true goddess, whose influence and wisdom surpass any assumptions mortals. One day, Jenna met the Queen Sinetti, and was deep flattered when I realized that the goddess remembers her name and knows about her existence. When Jenna for the first time I saw the Queen, she straightaway felt unusual strength and greatness, this a person who allocated her among everyone the rest. Inside Jenna's ran through unusual trembling energy, feeling of which earlier I've never felt like this before, opened a new facet of it, perceptions. The Queen demanded, put away fake smile, and said directly that one appearance, not enough to conquer location surrounding, and this touched Jenna. Jenna was embarrassed, quickly bowed and left, realizing that in front of such size, need to be sincere and attentive, otherwise this will notice straight away. After this, Jenna didn't feel it. Desires again meet with the queen, fearing that repeated meeting will force her feel myself awkward. I didn't even understand where she could hide from the close attention look. After all, father mentioned hunting festival, and thoughts about medicine temporarily distracted her. Jenna decided that this a great chance to prove yourself and show that if someone will endure failure, consequences are obvious, and this her motivated. She was already looking forward to the moment when Karen will find himself in a difficult situations, feeling strange satisfaction with what lies ahead, turn events. Jenna looked forward to the day when Edwin will become fully depend on her, and this the thought gave her confidence and hidden joy. The day of the event has arrived hunting festival that was test your strength, agility, and courage participants, and the atmosphere became tense to the limit. The time has come to test their skills, observe dexterity and courage each, and Jenna with excitement, I followed what was happening, preparing for intriguing events. The hunting festival began, and Edwin produced impression, demonstrating their skills and organizational talent, causing admiration from everyone present. Edwin looked excellent, confident coping with tasks, and showing natural grace and strength that caused pride in his teacher, Karen. Karen asked the queen if she wanted to, whether she will honor her subjects your own presence, but the goddess only said that froze, so what Edwin he copes on his own, without outside help. In fact, indoor business, it wasn't that cold, but Karen mentally worried about the queen, noting how important it is to take into account even the smallest details of the setting. The queen noticed that it didn't matter to her values place. After all, she died, and therefore Karen asked Tanya to read thoughts queens to understand the true intentions goddesses. Karen stated that in this case, she will have to leave because her waiting important business, and she was ready to leave the festival, focusing on her responsibilities. But suddenly, the queen turned to her, and Karen returned, feeling that her participation necessary, and what instructions goddesses it is forbidden ignore. Madam advised choose a stronger and heavier sword, implying that ordinary weapon may be insufficient for the upcoming tests. Karen replied that there was no need for that, because she total only the head of the department, and participation in combat training is not her basic task. However, the queen noticed that the blade is too light unpredictable, and taking into account coordination Karen, she could get injured due to carelessness waving. That's why Karen usually avoided similar activities, but now she was appointed as a coordinator, and to refuse was impossible. It was necessary to show courage and responsibility. I'm sure that this time everything will pass successfully. After all, 3-day the hunting festival was held in the Highlands, and the participants should had to demonstrate maximum skill. The knight who will bring the most large prey will become the winner, and this stimulated each participant fight for the championship and demonstrate their capabilities. On the handle, knights' swords were tied tapes that symbolized support and wishes success from observers, and also served as a measure of each person's popularity participant. Thus, the ribbons on the sword reflected recognition and sympathy for the knight, and success each depended not only on strength, but also on skill conquer attention public. More total Edwin had the tapes, and that's it. Immediately distinguished him from everyone participants, emphasizing his skill and charisma in the eyes spectators and mentors. When Karen turned to Edwin, he lit up with happiness. His eyes shone joy, and the heart filled with warmth, because he was very weighted this meetings with the teacher. Edwin experienced real joy, watching your mentor, and this feeling made him confident more stronger, giving determination for the upcoming tests. Karen noted that his speech was inspiring, and he immediately admitted that all this thanks to her support, and his words warmed her heart. His words sounded like honey for the ears, and the quantity ribbons only emphasized his success, making the moment especially significant and memorable for everyone present. Suddenly, they heard that someone is rushing to Edwin, and attention immediately switched to the unexpected guest, adding tension and curiosity into the atmosphere. This was daughter Awning's Jenna, who I hurried to hand over my ribbon, because her was full excitement, and she almost missed the opportunity be close to Edwin. Edwin straightaway remembered how she hugged him and tried kiss, and the memories made him wary, controlling your own behavior. He asked that she didn't fit too much close, showing that Border's personal spaces are important and what he values self-respect. She noticed that he could address her by name, offering trustworthy relationship, but Edwin refused, keeping etiquette and distance. I realized that, by, they not too much yet close, and observance of the rules of decency will correct to save respect and order between them. Ladybug was persistent, but they danced together, and this it was considered natural. After all, joint actions within the framework of etiquette are acceptable and do not violate decency. Edwin became prince, and this did their interaction natural. However, Karen didn't understand why. Her was squeezed with excitement and inner worries. By Jenna, she was talking about the tape. Edwin wasn't listening, and turned her pay attention to the teacher that testified to the fact that Karen remains for him main a guide and support. He noted that Karen looked unhealthy, and this worried him a lot because he was not used to see her in such state and worried about each her movement. Karen, she reassured him that she was okay, and he asked immediately report if there will be signs of illness so that he can straightaway help. Marquise Jenna thought it might be a knight, preferred this one worthless woman Karen, and this feeling caused an unpleasant feeling in her, a feeling of jealousy and anxiety about one's position. Jenna understood that she obliged. How can quicker get rid of a rival? And Shia's determination was solid. After all, situation demanded immediate actions. She abandoned look at your own knight to that remembered about his duties, because his loyalty and duty were to become collateral success her plans. After this, knight turned to Edwin with respect, bowing to him as it was supposed to royal rules, demonstrating respect and willingness to serve. He said that royal knights will be required some time to get there here, therefore they can climb the mountain while no one expects it, and it's calm, prepare for the meeting. Edwin asked again, why to him climb a mountain, showing curiosity and desire to understand what meaning this walks and how she maybe be useful. Knight noticed that this total only small a walk in order to dispel boredom and promised that there will be views there exciting, opening new horizons for the eyes. He asked Karen once whether she take a look, and she replied that will refuse Edwin, but for the sake of his highness I agree. After all, respect for him, more important personal desires, and she is happy will accept participation. Jenna was, I'm sure she will this time. All it will work out. After all, her plan was thoroughly thought out, and confidence and determination gave a feeling complete control over the situation. I hoped that Edwin will accept her feelings and will show reciprocity. After all, this was her cherished desire, which she was constantly thinking, building in her head ideal scenario. Jenna could just picture the moment of her victories, as if she had already died for others, and was glad, realizing that her plan will bring her the long-awaited satisfaction. She believed that best love message impossible, come up with something, because in my thoughts, it perfect corresponded her desires and emphasized her power over events. Suddenly, expression faces Edwina changed, and Karen noticed it, but he said that nothing special happened, trying hide their worries and anxiety so as not to disturb her. Today was cloudy, and a view from the mountain really turned out to be wonderful, allowing enjoy calm beauty nature that framed them walk soft light. From a distance, it seemed that there was a gentle hill in front of them, but as they rose above, they were convinced that this a real mountain, majestic and formidable, as if nature itself was experiencing their endurance. Edwin asked if she was tired, Karen, but she said that if she will say that it is easy for her, it is will a lie, because in fact case rise demanded efforts, though she tried to hide fatigue. Knight reported that they had almost reached the top, and this gave everyone confidence, because the path turned out to be faster than they expected, and the goals became closer with each step. It really turned out to be faster than they thought, and small, the feeling of joy and relief brightened the fatigue, allowing enjoy to those around landscape and fresh air. Looks like it started. It was raining, but it was at all weak, and they are almost there, so them need to was hurry up to avoid getting wet and make it in time. Enjoy the view before it deteriorates. Edwin, I asked if she was cold, whether Karen, because wind he intensified, and offered her to take his cloak, showing taking care of her comfort and health at this time. A cool moment of a walk. She said that this is not necessary, because the signs of attention are in the highest society, does not have weight, and even a good deed can be misinterpreted, therefore better observe distance. His subjects could misunderstand any kind gesture he made, so caution and adherence to the rules are important to avoid provoking rumors or discontent among courtiers. After this, they reached the lake, which was quiet and beautiful place surrounded forests, as if specially created nature for relaxation and tranquility. This lake was formed after volcanic eruption, leaving behind unique landscape, waters which shimmered in the sun, creating a captivating atmosphere for everyone present. It was just wonderful, and Karen asked Edwin what he thought about it. Because such types impossible, it was impossible to appreciate them, inspired, and excited the imagination. Indeed, was incredible beauty that filled hearts calmness and admiration, and each element nature seemed thoroughly thoughtful and harmonious. Edwin smiled and became embarrassed in response Karen, but suddenly a servant approached, breaking the order instant solitude, and his appearance made everyone be attentive to what is happening. The servant reported that must hand over important message to His Highness, and this made Edwin a little tense up, realizing that news can be significant and require attention. They moved away a little further away to discuss the received information, and Karen, meanwhile, I approached the lake, enjoying myself the peace and quiet that the water and fresh air gave air. The raindrops gave the landscape a special touch, grandeur, sparkling on the surface of the lake, enhancing feeling harmony and grandeur nature, which it was impossible to notice or appreciate. At this moment, I felt like I was flying past the arrow and pierced right into her horse, instantly having filled heart with fear and understanding that they were subjected to attack. This was attack. Therefore she shouted to defend His Highness, realizing the danger that hung over them and the need urgently act to save life. Edwin was very scared for Karen. After all, her life was in danger, and he couldn't stay calm, seeing that the teacher found herself in a fatal situation threat. Because of the fact that horse fell, Karen got underwater, and this added tension and fear, because every second could be decisive for her salvation, but the risk turned out to be huge. Karen realized that they were attacked, but the main problem was that she doesn't know how to swim, and this sharp limited her possibilities defend oneself or save yourself on one's own. She didn't understand who this did and why they attacked Edwin in general, which added to the anxiety and bewilderment, because situation looked absolutely unexpected and dangerous. Having opened eyes, I saw that Edwin jumped after her without thinking, showing courage and willingness to take risks for the sake of salvation, his own teachers, despite the danger. He jumped into the water to save Karen, showing his strength feelings and responsibility for those who to him roads, without thinking about yourself and the danger that was lying in wait there. I managed to grab his hand, realizing that I couldn't do it myself get out, and only his support could save her from the inevitable death in the cold water. In a moment, they jumped out from water, and heart Karen was beating hard, but she was relieved that she was saved, was huge, and the fear gradually was leaving. Edwin was very worried about Karen, because she looked exhausted and sick after incidents, and his anxiety was obvious, because he is sincere took care of her condition. He shouted to Karen, came to her senses, and she not quite yet understood what's happening, trying restore breath and strength after sudden dangers and falls into water. She felt like consciousness leaves her, body as if refused listen, and Edwin all continued call her by name, desperately trying to keep him close. Having opened eyes, I heard Edwin's familiar voice. His intonation was full anxiety and relief at the same time, as if he was afraid for her all this time. Joy Edwina, it was obvious. He didn't hide it smile, because his teacher, his support, finally woke up and again was nearby, alive and breathing. Karen slowly rose to her feet, assessing your own state, and carefully asked Edwina everything whether he was okay, worrying no less than he was about her. Edwin warned her not to overexert herself, explaining that she was unconscious enough for a long time, and she needs it recover before how move on. She looked around and asked where they are located, on what Edwin reported, that now they hid in the mountain's cave, temporarily safe from pursuers. While the guards were fighting the attackers, they managed to escape unnoticed. Escape, but Edwin was hard see that Karen suffered because of him. He experienced feeling guilt. Karen, however, thought differently. The first arrow was directed precisely at her, and if the enemies wanted to do harm Edwin, their actions would completely different, thought out. It became clear that goal attackers was Karen. She was the center of their evil plan, and every step now depended on how protect her from the new one's threats. Because of this, she was appointed hunting coordinator festival, and it turned out that Edwin found himself in danger just because she found herself at the center of events. Edwin told that they were lucky to find a horse that got scared attacks and ran away, but in the end they got lost. That more stronger complicated their position. Having stumbled upon the cave, Edwin divorced fire to warm up their both of them. His care and attention were, it's obvious he tried create at least some kind of warmth and comfort. How only they ended up here, he let go horse. Rain, all more walked, blurring traces, and this gave at least small feeling security and opportunity hide from pursuers. Karen felt relief, realizing that now remains only wait for the guards to come. They will find and help get out from this dangerous situations in the mountains. Edwin noticed that she is shivering from the cold, body shrank from the dampness and coolness, and he began to search way warm up her. How can faster? He offered her to take it off clothes to warm up, explaining that they were both soaking wet, and their body temperature falls too much quickly, threateningly their health. I was horrified by this request, and could hardly believe that Edwin means exactly what it said her heart was beating wildly. Edwin explained that this necessary for them survival. Wet cloth retains cold, and skin contact will allow faster warm-up and recover normal heat. Karen understood the meaning of his words and said that we'll step away for a minute to do this is getting ready, a little retire, and save at least small degree personal spaces. She noticed that Edwin had already begun to undress right in front of her. His calm and unperturbed sight caused her mixed feelings, anxiety and confusion simultaneously. He looked at her directly, without embarrassment, as if all what's happening was natural and necessary, and I felt the full force of his presence nearby. Edwin, I turned to her again, asking everything whether he was okay, and his voice was quiet, caring, that more strengthened her confusion and excitement. He suggested help get rid of him clothes, wanting to process less inconvenient for both, showing attention to her sensations and comfort. But she refused, saying that she would return soon, deciding to cope on her own and give Edwin a little personal space, despite all the proximity situations. They sat next to each other by the fire, huddled together so that warm-up, Edwin hugged it, so that the heat flows from it, creating feeling security and safety. Sitting side by side, not face to face, both of them was easier transfer closeness, and the embarrassment became less noticeable, though voltage, all there was, still some left. Edwin asked if it was cold, and she replied that she was already better than earlier, gradually feeling the warmth and care emanating from him. He hinted that knows another way warm up. His words were soft but persistent, causing Karen curiosity and light excitement. I was interested in what he was talking about, and a little embarrassed, realizing what was hidden behind his words, something more than just body heat. Edwin turned her to himself, and Karen felt a sudden rush of embarrassment. His closeness made the heart fight faster, but thoughts were confused. He explained that embrace will help warm up faster and more efficiently. Their heat will pass to each other, strengthening feeling protection and comfort. Karen admitted it and said that understands, but asked not to look at her so intently, feeling her usual modesty and lack of self-confidence appearance. She said she was no different beauty, no faces, no bodies, counting myself ordinary, and not understanding how Edwin maybe sees something special in her. Edwin refuted her doubts, saying that she, more beautiful everyone he met, her presence and personality for him, more important appearance, and this warmed Karen's soul. She thought, always whether Edwin was so strong and confident, capable protect her, and be there in any dangerous situations, causing trust and admiration. More important, everything he hugged it so tight that it was becoming difficult to breathe, and Karen felt simultaneously safety and ease confusion from closeness. He immediately apologized, explaining that he only wanted warm up her, and his concern was sincere, without hidden intentions that little calmed down Karen. Because of everything what's happening, she felt awkwardness, realizing that I might have said something wrong, and I was worried about my words and actions in front of him. Edwin, I noticed how Karen blushed ears from embarrassment, and this caused him soft smile, realizing how much she reacts to his proximity. He remembered the moment when for the first time appeared in front of the public and was extremely nervous, and Karen supported him, encouraging and giving confidence. Then, she said he was handsome and perfect, complicated. Her words gave it strength, and he remembered this as a sign of her attention and care, even if she herself did not understand. I asked again, really whether she said so, and tried to understand how her words could have influenced Edwin, causing lung embarrassment. Edwin noted that she added that he was not in her taste, and it added contrast between words of support and her honest opinion that he remembered. I realized that then I spoke thoughtlessly and was not at all aware of how Edwin will perceive her words, and it made her to feel a little embarrassed and think. So he pressed himself against her and asked how she thinks now, trying to understand her current feelings and attitude towards him, being too much close. He was so close that Karen felt every glance and breath of his, and he clarified whether it was still she thinks that he is not in her taste, experiencing her reaction. Karen, I was confused, not understanding how respond to such question, and her internal confusion was noticeably, her thoughts were confused between fear and excitement. Edwin said that he's just curious. His interest was soft and innocent, and he wanted to understand her opinion without pressure that a little calmed down Karen. Karen, I was horrified that he was asking such question. It is in this dangerous situation, and it's the embarrassment increased, forcing heart-fight faster relief from stress. Edwin asked if she thought she's about their relationship went beyond the student or family. His words were straight, but soft, causing strong emotions. He was so close that Karen, I saw your own reflection in his eyes, and it made the moment even more intimate and intense, causing a storm of feelings inside her. She couldn't understand why she blushed so much, but still more what was confusing was that Edwin asks directly, and her heart again began to beat madly. He asked Karen accept his feelings by expressing sincerity and hope for reciprocity. His look and words were full deep emotional affection. After this, they heard vote guards, delighted that found them, and it brought them back to reality, though intimacy and emotions more remained in the air for a long time. And after some time, Karen and Edwin had already returned to the people, feeling fatigue and light voltage. After that, them I had to endure it. Every step was taken with caution, because thoughts about what happened didn't let go there. Thanks to one of guards who made it in time escape and report the attack, they were saved. In fact, case this happened thanks to Queen Sinetti, who accurately determined their location and sent assistance during. The Queen explained that Prince Edwin should have been kept at the outpost where are working miners from the east and west directions to guarantee its security and control over the territory, which suddenly, it seemed logical. And for some reason, Karen arose feeling as if they just danced under her pipe, performing everything as it is she wanted, and this made her feel somehow uneasy. It's hard to come to terms with this thought. Karen noticed that it was daytime. It was difficult, and Edwin wanted to say something about what happened, but the words stuck on his tongue. He was clearly confused and searching, with a glance looked at her. But Karen, I walked away from him and decided that it's better to discuss everything later. Two emotions didn't interfere. Her caution was evident in every one movement, and she wanted that talk was calm. I feel awkward about the situation, so she decided step aside and collect my thoughts. My heart was beating faster, ordinary, and thoughts were racing, trying to find the right one solution. Edwin was extremely confused, not understanding how react. His look slid over Karen. He tried read her mood and understand what is the right thing to do so as not to harm her. Suddenly, he heard Marquise Jenna said she didn't understand how the girl managed to return alive. The voice sounded with a hint of bewilderment and light worries, that more strengthened voltage. Around, he realized that these words were spoken. It was the very girl to whom he did not bow his head, and this caused him strange feeling surprise and light irritability simultaneously. Woman tried to convey to her highnesses that similar actions unacceptable, and her words sounded stern, but respectful, trying protect the prince and emphasize unpredictability what happened. Queen Sinetti said that Sir maybe come out, making it clear that the conversation is not for him, and he must accept her decision with respect, understanding the seriousness of its situations. Edwin approached the queen and carefully asked, knows whether she, who exactly attacked them. His voice was restrained, but in it was heard anxiety and mild anger at what happened. Queen Sinetti replied that of course, she was aware of everything, and the calm tone did not betray emotions, leaving Edwina as confused and at a loss simultaneously. And that's why Edwin was furious. He couldn't understand why the queen had left them, unpunished, and suspected that she knew about the attack in advance, but decided not to warn. The idea that they could have been attacked by her too, I didn't prevent this. I brought it out Edwina from himself. He felt a mixture of anger and disappointment, not understanding motives queens. The queen asked if she should whether she was interfere. After all, earlier, she already saved Karen many times, and her experience showed that sometimes better let people cope with difficulties themselves. Edwin, I was thinking about how, for a long time, this will continue. His thoughts wandered between fear for Karen and irritation at what was happening, and he couldn't find a simple solution. Because of this, Edwin he shuddered and looked at her with understanding, realizing that you need to learn to accept her decisions and trust her experience, even if this difficult. The queen said that if he doesn't learn think on his own, he always will be one step behind, and this will lead to new problems and unjustified risks for everyone around. Should have gotten it from Karen more information about his future status, so that understand how to act and what solutions accept. After all, there are people waiting for him ahead, important tests and responsibility. But Edwin remembered how Karen said that when he enters the palace, everything will change. These words again caused in him anxiety and desire prepare for the future. The ruler must think ahead and anticipate possible events, to accept solutions on time, and do not allow errors that can influence the fate of people around. Catherine was, I'm sure Edwin has it, all it will work out, because he was elected her for the great missions, and this trust gave him inner strength. Even though he doubted himself, he got upset and realized that let down Karen. He felt bad, realized that I did not live up to my expectations, her trust, and what need to urgently correct their mistakes and strengthen confidence. The queen said that better would to him change your own thinking from this moment, rebuild approach to solutions, and be ready for the difficulties that more ahead. If he wants prevent Karen, him, it is necessary to become independent, strong and capable, accept solutions without anyone's help, otherwise consequences will be unpredictable. Edwin was horrified by the thought that she, maybe leave, and had no idea how cope with this situation. After all, affection for Karen was stronger everything he experienced earlier. He asked what she means, and the queen explained that the newly minted king must be independent, to accept make your own decisions, and not depend on other people's influence or support. Karen accepted it, a decision for his own good, understanding that only this way Edwin will be able to grow up as a ruler, to cope with difficulties and protect those who to him roads. And Queen Sinetti, I agree with her, but I also don't understand why Edwin such expression faces. Her sight was attentive, she watched the emotions of the young prince. The queen asked if it was true, did he think that Karen will stay with him forever? This put Edwin in an awkward position, forcing think about your own expectations and feelings. She said that Edwin too much naive and does not understand how is going to protect your people, if not even capable, save one person. These words were hard, but fair. If he can't save, although if only one person could manage the kingdom and accept solutions that affect lives of many people around him. As he walked down the corridor, time dragged on endlessly. Every step was echoing echo in the soul, and thoughts that it's leaving, they were putting pressure on my heart, stronger, ordinary. He didn't understand at all where she goes away, and the feeling helplessness took hold of him. His heart beat faster, and his mind, I was looking for ways to keep her close, but I couldn't find any solutions. I couldn't imagine that she maybe disappear because of his own life. The thought made him clench his fists and fight with his inner anxiety that tore at my soul. He squeezed teeth and realized that it's not too late. He needs it. Act quickly, so as not to lose Karen and fix own errors. Otherwise, consequences will be irreversible. He decided that no way will not allow this. Inside him flared up determination, readiness, fight for it, and make it happen everything too. She stayed close, despite for nothing. Karen, meanwhile, I couldn't sleep. Thoughts about what happened were spinning in my head, and my heart it was tense. She understood that future Edwina and her own closely intertwined. She thought that everything should have been discussed in advance. Sometimes, Edwin owns by yourself better than herself. It seems so too caused in Karen simultaneously, admiration and anxiety. Then they weren't that close. Their relationship only started to be formed, and every gesture was filled caution and quiet tension that I remembered it with trepidation. They almost kissed at that moment, and the thought of it kept Karen awake all night, interfering rest and calling easy trembling in the body with each memory. I was alone with Edwin in the room, but suddenly someone knocked, breaking the peace their moment, and Karen froze in surprise, waking up feeling anxiety and curiosity simultaneously. Karen didn't understand who could appear at such an hour. She in advance warned the servants that will to rest, and therefore someone's visit to the corridor seemed strange and inappropriate. I listened, and despite my drowsiness, I could hear Edwin's voice behind the door, caused her mixed feeling relief and confusion. She opened the door and asked what brought him here, trying hide trembling in the voice in surprise, because appearance Edwina was unexpected and inexplicable. Karen asked again why Edwin turned out to be here, not understanding what explained your own feeling anxiety, and at the same time, joy from his sudden visit. He looked excited, eyes glowed anxiety, and he just said that it was him, which in itself seemed to Karen important and a little touching. Edwin approached closer and hugged her, like needing warmth and reassurance. Karen, she felt his trembling and fatigue, and this intensified her wish be there and support him. She asked what had happened, and it's okay whether he, trying hide-own anxiety, feeling like heart rapidly is overcome with worry for the student. He lowered his head and admitted that to him, I dreamed about it a strange dream, full of anxiety and danger, which left him confused and slightly afraid. And Karen, I felt his confusion. In this dream, she disappeared as if dissolved into space. And Edwin, endlessly, I was looking for her, getting lost in the labyrinth's own imagination, where every step was full of fear and despair. Karen found herself in a cave sleep, and Edwin wandered around her dark corridors. Not knowing where go and search for it was endless, causing her mixture anxiety and sympathy. Despite appearances calmed down, Edwin was extremely sensitive to what is happening, and Karen I saw that his inner voltage requires support and care with her sides. She couldn't understand how more a minute ago I was thinking about trifles, because now in front of her stood a child. His fears and vulnerability demanded of her complete concentration and attention. Edwin asked if it was true she is not injured, and is confident I'm sure she's okay. Karen, I saw it in his eyes, sincere anxiety and desire, make sure of it, security. Karen replied that everything is fine, and she suggested sit down to a little calm down and put your thoughts in order after the dream and night anxiety. She asked if she wanted to, she did give him tea, carefully offering way help to him warm up and feel comfortable in this strange night incident. But Edwin asked that she hugged him, showing that now to him, her warmth is more important presence than ordinary familiar actions or rituals comfort. Karen didn't hug him, so Edwin himself pressed himself against her, explaining its fear and desire warm up, what simultaneously looked sincerely and a little touching. I understood that his words about fear were obvious lie. He couldn't deceive her completely, and therefore Karen told him not to be afraid, because she's nearby, and that's it under control. She said that is nearby and supports him, but Edwin admitted that all doesn't feel it, yet feels safe as if something remains unconquered inside him. He added that even their intimacy now is not enough, that words and touch cannot fully to dispel his anxiety, and this caused Karen deep concern. Karen felt that begins lose self-control. Emotions and feelings overflowed her, and I realized that goes crazy with tension and intensity what is happening. She realized that need to push away Edwina, stop and give to him space to, they didn't cross boundaries that not ready yet, violate despite strong feelings. But Edwin said Karen, what loves her, and this confession caused her internal contradiction between with duty and heart because students and teachers cannot be together. Karen pushed him away and said that it's wrong, reminding myself and him that their relationship should remain within the mentorship framework despite mutual feelings. After all, he is her student, and she is his mentor. It is forbidden was violate borders, and this knowledge gave her strength refrain from taking an impulsive step, even if heart demanded something else. But Edwin turned to her, saying that his feelings were not limited this during the day. What every day he dreamed touch her and be near, that was so frankly and touchingly that Karen found it difficult to resist. Every day he dreamed of her touch and warmth, about be closer to her, and these words penetrated deep into her heart, causing mixture trepidation and anxiety simultaneously. Karen said she had no intention of leaving, indicating that her feelings complex and contradictory, but she is ready to stay close for the sake of his peace and support. She admitted that knows that it's not true, but I'm ready to do so for his good, maintaining a balance between care and restrictions that dictates her role as a teacher. After all, she will leave just for his well-being, for the future, where Edwin will be able to be strong and confident, and Karen will be there as a mentor and protector. Edwin asked, really whether she thinks it will be like this better, by checking her determination and understanding that her choice determines his emotional state. And then Karen, I realized that before this, I didn't think about feelings for a moment, Edwina, about how much he needs support and understanding, and this awareness it struck her. That's why she said that will remain with him until he ascends the throne and becomes worthy a king, ready for the responsibility and power that his future demands. And if he turns into a tyrant, she won't be afraid to reproach him and ask, really whether to this. She taught him by showing him willingness to keep him within limits and educate him justice. Karen noticed that now he shouldn't worry, that she is there, and there is support her will constant, regardless of circumstances and night fears that trouble him. After this, Edwin kissed again her, what seemed to Karen simultaneously disturbing and natural, because his feelings were sincere and artless. She addressed him by name, and Edwin asked, really whether to him it is forbidden this do, while showing confusion and inner struggle between desire and prohibitions. Then Karen, she fell silent, and wondered why she hesitates, why heart and mind contradict each other, and this interior conflict forced hold her breath. Of course, the answer was negative, but she didn't want to make him cry, so decided on a kiss, which became compromise between feelings and necessity, save calmness. Edwin asked her to allow him something, and it caught Karen by surprise, causing confusion and internal awkwardness that reflected on her cheeks. Because of this, Karen blushed deeply, feeling a surge of emotion, and at the same time realizing that borders between them gradually were erased, but she tried to control herself. He put it down, he put her on the sofa, and kissed her again, showing readiness be there and support, despite all internal restrictions and prohibitions that they're divided. Edwin wanted to become who he was. She wants to see him, showing wish correspond her expectations, and be ideal student and future king simultaneously. If she orders he will take the throne, he will do, this is ready, follow her instructions, and become a strong ruler who will justify trust and love Karen. If he decides to become a good ruler, he will certainly follow to this decision, despite all the obstacles that will meet on his way, and will act as requires duty. Karen, I understood that it wasn't worth taking Edwin away from his native cities. After all, attachment to place and memories stronger everything, and now this solution, it seemed mistake. Edwin turned out to be much more greedy and persistent than Karen could guess, and he would never allow it. Take away from yourself what owns, fighting to the end. He's not going to miss mine young age and strength, so at this moment he is firmly hugs Karen, like wants to keep her in his hugs forever. After this, they were already on the bed, where voltage between them reached the limit, and every moment was felt incredible sharply and inevitably. Karen just couldn't believe it. Happens to Edwin, her thoughts were racing, and the mind refused accept reality happening, as if this an incredible dream. It will come morning, and this dream will melt, dissolve in the light daytime light, leaving behind myself only vague the memory of that it seemed impossible. After all, this can't be in reality, such unreal and strange at the same time, that she is unable to comprehend, really whether this happened, or this fantasy her imagination. In the morning, Karen woke up, and immediately, I realized that maybe she had just gone crazy, because events previous nights seemed too much unreal, and at the same time alive. She forgot how forgot that is teacher Edwina, and he is her student, and this role in her consciousness suddenly dissolved, leaving only emotions. She needs it was tell myself and him that there can be no connection between them, be none relationships. After all, debt and status are worth it, higher personal desires, and this required strict borders. But maybe everything, this was just a dream, and then more Karen. The more I thought about what happened, the more intensely she felt like thoughts about him spread throughout its consciousness. She didn't understand what could have been dreamed so realistically, because each movement and touch seemed real, like they took place in the real world. She was it's not clear how look in Edwin's eyes after this. After all, the thought of meeting filled her shame, and she felt that inside all burning with awkwardness and embarrassment. She got out of bed and walked towards him, trying collect your thoughts, and figure out how continue to act as if getting ready faced the consequences nights. But soon, I noticed that he was not there. The room was empty, and the feeling of its absence simultaneously worried, and a little made it easier her internal voltage. Then, Karen thought it might be Edwin, stood up earlier because busy, important affairs, and this explains his absence, because he has always were their duties and routine. She slept soundly all night, and Edwin decided don't wake her up, leave her to rest, which spoke of his care and attention to her state, even in a difficult and stressful situations. Karen thought about how it's better to behave when they again will meet, trying to find a balance between the duty of a teacher and feelings that overflowed her heart. Meanwhile, she continued, think that everything is possible, it's just a dream, and she not yet finished believed in what happened, allowing myself to waver between reality and fantasy. I wouldn't have thought that His Highness sent her an invitation, and was surprised that it was done not earlier, after all. Now she felt responsibility and importance moment. How she found out at the festival happened unexpected situation that influenced many participants, leaving behind chaos and anxiety in our hearts, those who was present. The girl noticed that I heard how Mentor seriously suffered, and it left in her heart anxiety. After all, she understood how much dangerous can be such events. That's why she asked if everything was okay. Whether Karen and this more made me angry Edwina, because he remembered Karen's words about her feelings and how events could have developed otherwise. He's back again, remembered her words, and was surprised how this girl I was able to slip away, without understanding how such, perhaps, this too, only strengthened his determination and perseverance. So he turned to her mentally, reminding her that Your Majesty once said that a strong support is the key to power, and now he believed that family packs may be such support. He was, I am sure, that house packs capable, provide kingdom invaluable support. After all, their influence and resources could become a decisive factor in strengthening power and stability. How the only one heir queens, Edwin wanted to know, opinion, the only one heirs genus Pax, realizing that her solution maybe determine the fate of the future and the political balance. Jenna believed that they similar, how two drops waters, and this union and the views that coincided could lead to harmony and general goals aimed at the good of the kingdom. That's why she agreed, noting that Marquisate implies complete dedication myself, kingdom, peace, and order, which they together intend will be build for the future. And Sir expressed joy that their views coincide, understanding that general understanding of tasks and goals will strengthen their union, will give strength for joint work in the name of kingdoms. The lady noticed that I would still like to get something in exchange for invaluable support, understanding that even an alliance with great influence requires certain conditions and agreements. Edwin asked what exactly she wishes, and she said that she would like to become the owner tiaras of the Red Sun, symbol power and greatness, which belongs only chosen ones. She asked if should he do it. Her owner this crowns, realizing that this confirms her status and importance in the kingdom, and trust with His Highness's side. After these words, Edwin agreed, confirming her rights. And that's it. The decision became an important symbol of trust and recognition, her role in life kingdoms, and in their joint work. Jenna, I was glad, because finally, event happened. The symbolic moment ended, and she felt satisfaction and joy from achievement goals to which strove long time. After this, they went to the Koreans who were keeping treasures their kingdoms. After all, it was there that the objects symbolizing were located wealth, status, and power that were valued in the kingdom. Tiara, which maybe belong only the princess, was the object of admiration and respect. Her value was not only material, but also symbolic, reflecting power and prestige. Now, she found herself in Jenna's arms, who held her with trepidation and pride, realizing that this is not just a decoration, but a symbol of strength, trust, and recognition. Her merits. Although in reality case remains question, is there whether connection between what he does for her and how he treats his teacher, because motives and feelings Edwina could have been multifaceted and hidden. Edwin with curiosity asked what kind consequences this maybe have, even if situation, it will turn out exactly such as discussed. He's everything more tried to understand that will change. Karen believed that his gaze was unusually hot, almost burning, and inside her woke up the joy of that she, maybe, to watch him so closely and secretly. This, the woman could be irritating your own presence, but Karen understood that her can use in your, for purposes of caution, directing her influence in the right direction. It should have been more, a little wait, watch how events are developing. After all, taming Edwina required time and patience, but haste could do everything spoil. At the end, finally, Edwin will belong to her, completely opening up and trusting, and that gave Karen feeling power and self-confidence influence. Newspapers distributed with the most fresh news, in which in detail the scandal with the prince was told Edwin and the Lady Pax, causing a storm of discussion among townspeople. Residents were in full shocked by the news, and new newspapers sold out incredible quickly, as if everyone wanted to be aware of the most hot rumors. Appearance Edwina and the Lady Pax, on one party, testified to the fact that they decided to side with the crown, strengthening your own position in society. Even gave her a tiara, symbolized that she's almost their crown princess, and many perceived her how significant figure in the royal family. Many residents were upset, because between prince and lady, Pax was not there even a hint of friendship, and news about the emergency marriage made people anxious to discuss future kingdoms. These sensational news they reached Karen, who attentively watched the reaction society and reflected on the consequences for Edwin and his circle. Karen sat in the garden next to the Queen Sonetti, enjoying the quiet morning and discussing important things with her events affecting future royal families. Queen Sonetti noticed that better to leave in the past this creepy incident at the festival so as not to fuel unnecessary rumors and anxiety among subjects. She added that the prince had developed a good alternative for solving situation that will help save reputation and avoid scandal among the nobility. Was no difficult reveal the perpetrators behind the hunting conspiracy, but it's important to act carefully, without speeding up events, and without causing doubts about the prince's actions. It should have been demonstrate that Edwin's status how heir throne unshakable, so that subjects had no doubts about stability authorities' crowns. Nothing calms people down more than the marriage of the heir to the representative, influential and respected family, strengthening trust in the future king. Karen, she said confidently, that she all understood and realized importance their own actions in this complex political dance between influence and personal affection. In essence, the real thing goal everyone intrigues and plans, there was a countess whose support could change things dramatically, political balance within kingdoms. If you don't pay attention to the character of the Marquise Jenna's family, Pax could become powerful political ally for Edwin and significantly strengthen his position. Before this, at that moment, the alliance existed thanks to the authority of the countess, who held both sides in relative balance and devotion crown. But how only Edwin will ascend the throne, their relationship can change, and it is necessary think about how preserve the union, and not lose it support influential families. It's better that they remained allies, not enemies, because with the influential supportive family Edwina, him would much easier to strengthen your own position. How, whatever it was, from that day on, not a word was exchanged with Edwin. They avoided conversations, and Karen all more focused on her own preparing for meetings with him. She even was training mentally, how to behave in case of accidental meeting with him, to not a single awkwardness showed her feelings, and did not violate careful plan. No awkwardness whatsoever partings, and although this was already ceasing to be important, Karen continued prepare internally for each possible script meetings. She didn't know how name the feeling that came over her when she for the first time saw news in the newspaper, but it was simultaneously disturbing and exciting. Probably I was hoping for something more, for the possibility that events will turn out so that she will be able to influence the fate of Edwin and his own future. But that's all. This it seemed only stupid dreams and speculations. For now, reality continued to dictate their strict rules and tests for everyone involved. The queen just watched her as if reading her thoughts. After all, her experience allowed see hidden emotions and understand internal doubts of the prince's mentor. Sonetti also asked about Karen's plans for the future, realizing that her solutions will affect not only personal life, but also on political stability kingdoms. What the queen meant was that after Edwin will take the throne, the role of Karen may become decisive, and her choice will determine how much he will be able to govern the country effectively. Then, Karen, I realized that Sonetti knew her from the very beginning decision, and this fact gave confidence, but at the same time forced think about the consequences. For a mentor, was not bad option. But on the other hand, sides meant lost valuable advisor, who would stay close to the prince and support him in difficult times moments. I was really interested, is the countess going to leave, after all? The decision could radically change the balance of power and the situation Edwina in the kingdom. Karen, I remembered that night when Edwin said that must be close and what she won't leave, creating interior conflict between debt and personal aspirations. That's why she decided that she really cost leave to give opportunity events develop naturally without interfering excessively into politics game. She said that night that will stay with him until he becomes worthy king, realizing that her presence maybe have decisive influence. If Edwin will turn into a tyrant, the situation will different, and Karen will forced reconsider their actions and ask yourself what she taught him and what must teach further. The queen asked what her worries, realizing that direct answer impossible because the mentor must on one's own realize their feelings and accept solution. Karen said that everything is fine, but Sonetti only noted that time more there is, and there is no need to rush things, so that solutions were balanced and thoughtful. This her life, therefore only Karen decides what to do, and she should thoroughly think about every step to avoid making mistakes in the future and causing harm to Edwin. I remembered how Sonetti gives away orders with iron determination that inspired respect and at the same time made me think about how maintain a balance of power. Karen replied that I agree with this look, but the queen emphasized that her answer was not enough convincing and requires more deep comprehension. Karen noted that it's not about that, but after a pause, she said that it was time for her to go, realizing that actions require real steps, not thoughts. She couldn't bring herself to declare hers right now, because understood that solution should be final and thoroughly deliberate. Karen understood that it is forbidden promise Edwin stay with this at night. Was too much risky. But still, I decided not to wind things up myself. It's in vain. After all thoughts about what will happen next, we didn't have meaning. Next time when she will see Edwina, this is collision, the sensations will simply amaze her suddenly. When she raised her fist and he accidentally hit him because Edwin was right behind her at that moment. Straight away, I realized that I hit him in the face, and that was unexpected for both, but impossible was stop. Karen rushed towards him, trying to make sure he's okay. Her anxiety was strong. But now this question was not the main one, because what's happening required other attention, not simple words. Edwin only said that everything was fine with him, adding that what's more important is that he missed her. Karen didn't understand that now is happening. Her thoughts were spinning, and she tried to comprehend situation. At first she was angry with him, but soon anger melted, giving way to the warmth of the embrace Edwina. I realized that it is forbidden give in to his every move. It is important to maintain own durability. That's why she tried to be restrained, and not allowing yourself to go completely succumb to his influence. Karen told him stay within the limits, but Edwin did not immediately realize that exactly is happening around them. She warned that there is nothing between them special, so that he doesn't build extra expectations. She was still next to him, watching his every move and not losing control. He said that the teacher shouldn't think as if she seriously pretends to be that hot there was no night. Karen, I was horrified to hear him call it hot at night, and thought about how he hadn't spoken to her since. Edwin noted that she just didn't answer his letters, and there was no malicious intent, only misunderstanding. When she clarified that is exactly what he means, he explained that wrote daily letters with requests meet. He couldn't understand why I didn't check again mine mailbox and missed his messages. Karen was from those people who never looks into personal information mail, so I asked why he didn't send it assistant. Edwin said that was afraid burden her necessity. I wouldn't like to answer. She feel pressure. After these words, Karen grabbed her head as she realized how she felt awkward about everything what happened. She didn't know that after all embarrassment overflowed her, and the words just wouldn't come out of her mouth. Edwin noticed that everything was his. This time was misunderstood, and misunderstanding, it didn't arise because of him. He asked if it was true she thinks that he throws himself at anyone, hinting at her suspicions. She explained that she didn't have this in mind, but he noted that it's a shame here. Karen admitted that I would misunderstand, although I am to blame for the fact that formulated question incorrect. After this, she said that is going to leave, having decided a little step back and collect your thoughts. But Edwin asked, wait a minute, I wanted to say something important, not letting her just leave. Early, a scientific journal, written by Avocado, was announced national property and protected by law. Now access to it had only Royal Courtyard, and a limited number could see it group persons. Edwin provided roots work and reminded that Karen always read this one valuable scientific work. Karen noted that this national a treasure that not everyone is given the opportunity to see, and asked if it was possible whether look at the book. He said that of course, that's exactly why they here too she could study it without restrictions. Scientists dreamed would at least catch a glimpse her content, and Karen I could hardly believe that she had been given a chance. But suddenly, he noticed something strange and asked again, as if felt lung inconsistency in the situation. Karen turned to him, expressing gratitude, but explained that I'm not ready to read the whole book yet. She said that Edwin maybe abuse his own power, and this forces her handle with caution. At first, it was difficult, but with time, I realized that similar moments may become interesting experience, if act carefully. Because of this, Edwin laughed, thinking about his teacher charming and unusual attractive. He said there would be an article soon. We'll see light, and her content will become accessible to more wide audiences. Karen asked how this will happen, and he explained that with the help of magical projection devices, any will be able to look through the book. Karen, I also tried to protect the book from damage, because this was first edition that we're going to show to the public, and I understood how important it was to keep it perfect condition. Karen, I was delighted, and was interested to learn where this came from. Wonderful idea. And Edward noticed that his wise teacher always said that education should stay free from any discrimination and bias. Before the official, he decided to release it, show the book only chosen ones to make sure that everything is ready for the performance, and no one will be able to spoil her first impression. Edward believed that displaying a book without due preparation can evaluate how abuse his own power, so he approached it with caution. He promised to be more careful in the future and take action, be careful. And suddenly Karen, embarrassed, asked him to forgive her previous words and actions. After he did this again, kissed her on the lips, like confirming that there is no misunderstanding between them, and it remains mutual, although the situation remained tense. Karen said that you can't behave like this, because Edward there is bride, and such actions could cause unnecessary gossip or misunderstandings in the palace. Edward, with a long misunderstanding, asked where he got his bride from, since he himself had never heard of any official engagement or agreements. Karen clarified that there are rumors that he allegedly gave Tiara Marquise Jenna Pax, what sparked the engagement rumors among courtiers. After this, he thought that Karen, he's jealous, but her embarrassment only got stronger, because I didn't expect that at all, her feelings will be so easily noticeable. He asked. Karen noticed that if there was a woman standing behind the Prince noble family, this is looked would much. It's better because of the status and origin always had value when choosing brides. But Edward stressed that he is not concerned about the public opinion and asked directly what his teacher was feeling, trying to understand her real emotions. Karen admitted that, now them nothing discuss, after all situation complex, and a conversation about feelings, maybe only complicate an already tense situation position. Edward said that really gave her roses, and that none official announcements engagements. It never happened that it clarified the situation a little and softened it her alarm. Edward noticed that he doesn't care much about the opinions of others, because he's used to it. Rely on your own views, and understand that his feelings more important than other people's opinions. Karen stressed that with his status as a prince, it is necessary listen to people's opinions, because any action maybe have consequences for the palace and the future kingdoms. If he wants to become king, he must be careful in his actions. Karen understood that burden responsibility will only grow up, and she wanted to warn him. Before accept any important solution, Edward must thoroughly think about consequences. Karen's words all time broke out outward, instead of say exactly that she wanted. After he did this again, kissed her, and Karen thought that it was worth discussing everything with him, but the words stuck in my throat, leaving her confused and bewildered. He continued kiss her, but Karen turned around, warning that this was not allowed, because they should behave reservedly, especially in the palace and in front of other people. Edward planted her to the table and continued hug, like assuring that in these moments they can be close, despite formalities and court rules. Karen reminded that there are people outside, and they are in the library. Edward understood her, having decided that at the moment everything's safe if they will remain here together. He wanted Karen, I didn't mean it that way at all, so the embarrassment increased, because she didn't expect that Edward will show such frankness exactly in the library. Edward said that Karen now looks like lovely, and his look expressed sincere admiration that did her more confused and bewildered. Karen didn't understand what he meant and thought that now is happening something strange. I was not ready for such revelations and actions. And also, at the sight of Edward, the heart began to beat faster. Maybe he is exactly her type, and she couldn't hide it excitement, even understanding that this risky. She felt myself criminal, leaving castle after these events. After all internally understood that violated the rules of decency and her own behavior. Edward said that between him and the Lady Jenna, there's nothing, but Karen all more. I doubted it, because of the rumors and her own observations made one doubt this. He assured that's why Karen shouldn't think up unnecessary, but just trust his words. But her confusion and anxiety interfered, fully relax and believe. Karen, usually, people lead myself only like that, if in love, and Karen understood that her emotions issue feelings, that she tried to hide it by creating interior conflict. Her thoughts interrupted the knocking, and this there was Masha, Edward's nanny, who reported that baked her favorite cookies, carefully thinking about a pleasant moment for Karen. Karen was grateful for the care. And Masha believed that Karen could do badly myself feel after tense meetings with the prince and concerns about his safety. But today I met with His Highness, and he conveyed hello Masha, demonstrating that even in such moments, he remembers about loved ones and caring people nearby. Karen, it may have been late, but Karen wanted everything. Hearts expressed gratitude for that, made for her young Sir Edwin, and that he has changed thanks to her work. After all, if it weren't for the intervention, Karen, young Sir, never would not have left the Duke's mansion, remaining in the familiar, but limited life without receiving new one's impressions. He knows, and Masha read in his behavior that all it is the result of effort and care Karen, who managed to guide him on the path to maturity and inner harmony. But Karen, that's why she sincerely, I am grateful to Masha, and these words touched the nanny to the depths of her soul. I realized that her work too appreciated and respected truly, not formally. Now Karen, I understood why young Sir always shows such respect for her, as if feeling that exactly she played decisive role in its development. When Indigenous Resident Palace she heard remembered that Edwin Quicker is experiencing respect than real love, and it made her think about your own feelings. Emergency situation, and perhaps he got confused, unusual excitement, with the fact that she maybe name love. After all, emotions in the new surroundings, always more difficult to understand. That's why Marquis Edwin noticed that the lady came without an appointment, that violated his work schedule, and this caused lung discontent, noticeable only attentive. The girl, she came up closer and sat on his lap, clinging to him, as if trying to achieve that the contact she had been missing so much lately time. I tried to kiss him, but he covered me up, her face with your hand, stopping her act and showing that she violates boundaries that he is not ready for cross. He noticed that she creates awkward situation, and if she will continue in the same spirit, this may lead to unpleasant consequences for both of whom should have avoid. After this, Karen walked away and said that all I understood, but in her eyes it was read bewilderment, mixed with slight insult. After all, she didn't understand why this happened. But all I still didn't understand that exactly what is happening and why Edwin doesn't allow it approach it while maintaining distance and coldness that is difficult to explain in words. He gave her the tiara, and Karen should understand that this gesture symbolizes trust and special significance her role, and not just a formal gift or a token of attention. She didn't want to think about what she might have done in vain. Publish articles in the newspaper, after all. Now it seemed that no one appreciated her efforts as she expected. He seems to think that she agreed to cooperate without expecting anything in return, and this a little upsetting her. After all, she wanted to be noticed and appreciated. In the eyes surrounding, she was the future crown princess, who possessed power and influence, and this imposed additional pressure on her actions and decisions. That's why she didn't understand why Kate seemed to tame Edwin, to make him show more emotions and openness, as it seemed to her should be. He must crave her attention, but he shouldn't even resist her, and this misunderstanding only strengthened her internal tension and anxiety. After this, Karen approached him with a proposal: arrange a banquet, in order to show to everyone connection between royal family and the Pax house, strengthening the status of the future king. Edwin was surprised, asked again, what about his coming speech? After all, such offer was unexpected, and went beyond the usual framework of his routine and duties. She noted that since his arrival at the palace, I have never held an event like this before, and this excellent opportunity for demonstration influences. This really a chance to demonstrate strong connection between Royal Pax family and home, show trust and respect for Karen and everyone around them. She suggested invite all the nobility, after all, this the first banquet that will conduct the future king, and that's all should be impeccable, from the serving to the program evenings. She will stand next to him, with a tiara on her head, symbolizing his support and importance their roles, demonstrating alliance and trust in the eyes all guests. He will invite her to dance in front of everyone, showing attention and respect that will become a landmark moment for everyone present, emphasizing the status of the future queens. I was delighted when I imagined it, feeling it lung excitement and joy at the same time, anticipating how will look their joint exit. She was already mentally imagining him kissing her hand, and this it seemed small, but important victory, her influence and closeness, that she strove strengthen. And after he noticed that, in his opinion, she was right, and that confirmed right her plan, giving confidence in success upcoming events. He said that decided to hold a banquet, and this solution finally consolidated her plan and allowed her to direct her preparations in the right direction. There will be a banquet grandiose, and Jenna noted that she had no doubt about it because there was no such event castle. I haven't seen it yet, and the day promised to be truly magnificent. In the office was happening real chaos. Need was check documents, sort out last year's budget report, and the ink is running low created additional difficulties. Need to was work very quickly, so that get to everyone in time deadlines, and at the same time keep in mind upcoming banquet and organization each small moment. Between to everyone, this Karen found out that the prince really is going to have a banquet, and this knowledge gave her strength and confidence that her efforts will be appreciated. Because Edward, for the first time I received guests, everyone was asked to make every effort to all past perfect, and the celebration looked worthy of a royal court, and emphasized the prince's status. True, after recent hunting, there was no festival planned, none official royal events, and the atmosphere was unusual calm for the palace. The purpose of this meetings was to show strong connection between Her Majesty and Edward, to demonstrate harmony inside family, and support royal house. One of the servants noted that, judging by the weather and mood, today might be official performance Lady Jenna, which added a touch of light intrigue event. There were already rumors about the upcoming the prince's wedding, and everyone in the kingdom discussed how soon this would maybe happen, trying predict details of the celebration. Rumors that Marquis is preparing his wedding daughters spread everywhere, and palace courtiers with interest discussed every detail of the upcoming events. Even Your Majesty did not deny the possibility of celebration. She made it clear that with such development, wedding preparations will begin very soon. Karen slammed the table and made it clear that enough gossip. Officially, nothing is confirmed, and there is no discussion. This prematurely. It's not worth it. Listen, stupid rumors, she said. Edward must focus on your work and provide her with a project budget to. Everything went according to plan. The servant quickly left, and Karen rose from her seat, feeling the need to put thoughts in order and control upcoming event. Even if Edward doesn't like it, Lady Jenna, the prince will have to face such situations for the benefit kingdom and maintenance the house's reputation. Possible marriage was considered a strategic move that could bring good to the kingdom, strengthen alliances, and maintain peace within palace. Therefore, what happened between them before, Karen I thought unacceptable and decisively tuned in to something similar, did not happen again. She reported that for a short while will go away, so that think about details and make sure that preparations for the banquet are going without any glitches or unnecessary details noise. Queen Sinetti mentioned that I heard about the questionnaire and noted that it's wonderful that the prince decided to carry it out, demonstrating interest in opinion subjects. But the queen noted that in this case, he must understand what significant event there will be a banquet, and to realize the full importance moment for the home. She asked, really whether such choice the prince did, assessing his readiness for the responsibility and consequences that will entail this solution. If he won't follow your own by way of, then inevitably will remain behind. The queen reminded that the fate of the house depends on personal decisions. Sonetti emphasized that this beautiful opportunity, and in any case, she will hand over the throne to Edward and leaving the prince complete freedom of action. The queen also noted that with this, it's not easy to manage a family. However, its role is extremely important for stability and prosperity kingdoms. Edward noticed that they shouldn't put unnecessary pressure on enemies so as not to provoke them conflict and maintain balance within palace and among allies. The queen added that this means the establishment of the bonds of legal union and that such approach is a good solution for strengthening power and connections. Edward remembered that she once said that the ruler should establish power either through fear or through trust, creating stability. Either through good affairs, he noted, emphasizing that control state always requires combinations, power, and wisdom to achieve goals. But the acquisition authorities, always associated with losses, said the queen, recalling that each solution has its price and consequences. Sonetti emphasized that there will be a chance to understand this in practice, because each unexpected solution opens new opportunities and challenges. Edward noted strangeness situation and asked the question, is that he is the one who can to lose, trying to understand the depth and consequences their own actions. The queen asked him again what he meant, trying to clarify his thoughts and intentions, so that give correct advice and guide the prince. And he emphasized that I forgot mention an important point that maybe change understanding all situations, and influence the future solution. Edward added that he would like hear opinion Karen on one issue, important for the future, concerning preparation and management royal house. Meanwhile, Karen read the book, trying concentrate and organize thoughts, because for her, this was way take a break from the palace vanity. When in the head heap thoughts, the best solution becomes departure into the book world, where each page helps bring order to chaos and find peace. And that's why she took myself into account, realizing that really was impulsive. Even it's in the bookstore now, thoughts return to those events. When she became like this impulsive, I didn't even notice it, but the consequences past actions gradually manifested themselves in her actions and thoughts. That's more it couldn't go on. And Karen, I realized that should pull yourself together, so that again, act sensibly and with restraint. I had to show some prudence. After all, her duty is to help the prince for the good of the kingdom, and to make sure that everything went according to plan. But then she couldn't find the book she wanted, and she knew that an accident in the store can change plans and demand new solutions. And by chance in the store, she came across a salesperson who turned out to be unusual, a person capable of suddenly interfere with her day. I crashed into him and felt that loses balance, falling, but managed react and grab the man to avoid getting hit. This there was Paul, who I was also very surprised to see Karen and her sudden fall, without expecting such meetings at the bookstore. But because of the power blow, they both fell to the floor, finding themselves in an awkward and simultaneously awkward situations, trying restore equilibrium. Karen fell on him, and their sudden collision interrupted a man passing by, adding additional element awkwardness in the situation. They immediately felt awkwardness all situations, realizing that random fall created a tense moment that impossible was fast to correct. Views met, and both realized that this random episode became a symbol of their past and present emotions, causing mixed feelings and memories. Situation ended point, leaving them with the feeling that accidents sometimes lead to important events and force reconsider relationships and habits. Karen said that straight away all will clean up, trying and offering, take a walk with him in the fresh air in the air, to let's discuss business a little. I decided to treat him to something tasty, together with us, although at the same time you will have to pay for all the books that they were going to acquire. But she does it didn't matter. I'm sincerely glad about this meeting. His eyes glowed, and the mood straightaway rose, as if the old ones had returned kind times. He suggested help Karen, seeing that she is trying all organize independently and takes care of every moment of the meeting, trying make it easier her worries. Karen bought sandwiches for both of them, and they sat down on a bench in the park, enjoying food and a rare moment of peace away from the everyday vanity. She noted that she just wanted to treat him to something delicious, without expecting nothing in return, just to please an old friend and support him. Paul noted that how enough for him too was. It's nice that Karen thought of him without any conditions, just showing concern. All this inspired to him memories. After all, they are often like this together, 8 in college, sitting on benches and discussing their first scientific projects. Karen also I asked how he ended up in the kingdom, because passed many times since their last one meetings, and him was interesting share news. He explained that from the moment the salary issuers were told to cut the budget, if it happened again, we'll miss conference. Therefore, to him, had to go back and do it their obligations. Karen, I heard that he opened laboratory in her hometown, and she thought it was just amazing, because he always dreamed of my own research space. But he modestly said that there was nothing to it special, and although this great merit, he always considered work just partly his own life and passion for science. Karen noticed that she was interested, find out how his laboratory is set up. After all, she herself loved to watch the process, scientific research, and experiments. He said that to him, I like it when things are not easy. After all, experiences and tension make him work more harder and don't give close eye at night. But the possibility study what he wants, conduct his own study, makes it real happy, and gives feeling complete implementations. Karen, I dreamed of this in the future, if someday will abandon administrative responsibilities and will be able to devote himself only scientific work without outsiders' worries. She imagined staying up all night, completely immersed in research, when every experiment and discovery they bring delight and new knowledge. Lead a life scientist, expanding horizons of a new world and opening unknown was her secret dream that she hid behind formalities' responsibilities. If she will leave from kingdoms, like always dreamed of her life, will be able to fully change, and she will be able to implement myself in science, an area I've been thinking about for a long time. Paul noticed that sometimes misses these moments, and would it's nice to go to school with her and watch her work and share shared joys of learning process. Despite the fact that they had a lot of tasks, everything equals it was fun, and he still something heard about her, which added a slight note of interest and mystery to their meeting. He found out that her student became hereditary prince, and after this news, Karen laughed, realizing how unusual and amazing can be events in her life. She noted that this indeed, so it was, and her friend smiled, happy for her, and at the same time feeling easy envy of fate, which presented such events. He admitted that I missed her, and that the confession made Karen feel lung embarrassment. After all, she same experienced similar feelings for an old friend. Karen little she became embarrassed and noted that she had not heard his words. Immediately, trying hide internal excitement and surprise at Paul's frankness. He too was red, and at first didn't say anything, just watching her reaction, feeling that these moments fill their meeting with special trepidation. The blow was light the wind, and he noticed that asked once whether she another sandwich, hinting at joint dreams of the future and the little joys of life that can share. She agreed, and he said that will go by it with hot sauce, promising to add a little fun and spice into the ordinary friendly treats on the bench. But Karen wanted to go together with him, and already in the evening, she thought about his research laboratories, about how to him it works out, combine work and life. This is wonderful, I must say, and it would recklessly think about leaving the kingdom, because here they can easily settle down and create comfortable conditions. How it's hard when for the first time I came to the kingdom, but everything equals she didn't want to return to your hometown, preferring new opportunities and challenges. Her hometown is Aldebar, quiet place childhood, where every corner kept memories, but which could no longer give those prospects that opened here. She remembered that her sister Carla wrote her a letter in which reported that will arrive, and this added a light anxiety and at the same time joy expectations meetings. It's passed enough many times since that letter came, and now expectation meetings filled her thoughts, mixing joy with ease, anxiety, and uncertainty. She will be soon here, but why she going to the kingdom? It remained strange question that simultaneously called curiosity and the desire not to know the truth. At the end, after all, she decided that, now enough reflections, it is necessary concentrate on work and experience the banquet calmly, leaving all questions for later time. And about my sister, and about Edwin same, she tried to think less, realizing that now the main thing is to successfully cope with your responsibilities and not be distracted by unnecessary one's emotions. The ladies have already discussed that the prince personally was engaged in organization banquet, and for sure, I spent a lot of time and effort on every detail to all past perfect. The scale of this event impressed even experienced members, and Karen I understood how much work and energy was invested in the organization in order to all looked flawless. They said that usually allowed be present citizens and students that explained big quantity those present and added a special atmosphere festive events. Now, it's clear why there is so much here students. After all, to everyone, I wanted to be part this magnificent events and oversee the organization from the first rows. Karen thought that will receive invitation, and the nobles could hardly resist to this. After all, her role as Edwin's teacher was important and respected in the kingdom. Edwin really walked your own by way, confidently moving through the crowd, not paying attention to the views that tried to hold him back, as if magnet. After this, reported that His Highness the Prince and Lady Jenna, from families Pax, they come out together. All views immediately turned to them, and anticipation was in the air. Everyone noticed that Jenna was in corona, and their outfits were matched in pairs, matching each other as if reflection in the mirror palace and the light of the chandeliers. Karen same. I noticed this and stood there, overwhelmed despair, unable to look away. Heart her was cringing from the feeling that she is deprived of the right to this beauty and triumph. She turned away so as not to look at its spectacle, because she still had it unpleasant, as if inside something was tearing and demanding run away. Turning around, I ran into some man, and the body her slightly trembled with surprise, and my heart started beating faster, as if reminding of anxiety. Raising eyes, Karen embarrassedly met Sightman, and he immediately asked if everything was okay, whether she, showing unexpected care, that her little calmed me down. Everyone decided that there were rumors, it's true, After all, it's no wonder that Marquise, in the last time, leads myself arrogantly, and as if checks patience people around. At the end, after all, there is no financier better than him, and it was an undoubted benefit for the royal family. Families capable strengthen their positions and influence in the state. The prince found influential sponsor, who capable support his endeavors by creating impression confidence in the future and ensuring reliable rear. Probably them costs hurry up come up and greet her. After all, undoubtedly, she will become hereditary and will be a princess to occupy significant place at court. Jenna walked proudly, with her head, as if every her step was filled strength and awareness. That attention total, the palace is riveted precisely to her. That's right, that's how it should be. To be, even if he is not ready now, fully admit your own feeling. Everything he had no choice before this celebration. He turned to her with thoughts that intend officially clarify them, relationship here and now, without leaving places doubts or misunderstanding. I wanted to would hear her opinion on this matter, and Jenna, I was glad, because I realized that he realized how much needs her support and attention. She noted that, as always, family Pax will be on the side kingdoms, ready provide support and maintain the honor of the family in any circumstances. As expected, he is sincere, admired her unshakable loyalty, that did their union is still more strong and meaningful for both sides. Jenna I'm immensely happy, because finally, he belonged to her, and there's the connection became obvious to everyone who I watched this moment. And he thanked everyone present, who came today, sharing joy with them events, and demonstrating respect for every guest. Special, he expressed gratitude, Lady Jenna Pax, who honored them your own presence, adding to the celebration more significance and shine. He turned to my lady, expressing joy see her here, and his attention was configured exclusively on her, standing out in the crowd among others. He took her hand, and Jenna noted that it is an honor for her to feel the warmth and respect that came from such an attentive gesture. In the crowd stood her father, confident in everything that had happened, as if foreseeing each movement and every word that was pronounced in the hall. Edwin said that I would also like take advantage of opportunity to announce something important for the future kingdoms that attracted all eyes present. Everyone assumed that this wedding announcement or engagement, after all, the anticipation of celebration and love was in the air, creating an atmosphere of intrigue. He reported that today's kingdom Rian will keep up with over time, having shifted main focus from livestock to production and trade, which caused astonishment. Everyone was there, amazed this news without realizing that means rejection of the previous industries. After all, this cardinal change that capable change foundations states. They believed that this is absurd, suddenly switched to production and trade, because all former, it seemed reliable and familiar, and it was difficult to change dangerous. And also they didn't understand that will happen to the family Pax and their influence. Jenna her face changed, unable to comprehend how everything is happening so fast changes. The man with whom I ran into Paul, tall and stern, whose eyes instantly appreciated situation and showed interest in the young to the teacher. I asked him why he was there, and found out that he was replacing chairman, which gave his presence weight and significance in what is happening events. He was advised meet with sponsors, because he has too lived in seclusion in the countryside for a long-time locality, far from secular life and the capital intrigues. Paul noted that research really need funding, and because of the stuffiness he was about to leave, but an accident meeting changed plans. But he was glad that met her here, and his gaze expressed lung surprise and joy, as if meeting it didn't happen by chance, but by the will of fate. He noticed that she looks around, and realized that her attention is focused on the student, or rather on His Highness, the future Prince Edwin, that caused smile. He believed that the future was nearby princess. What about I read it in the newspaper recently, and now his guess seemed confirmed in each movement and gaze. Karen said that it seemed like it was really future princess, and her confidence gave me strength, as if she knew that all it will work out perfect. They look great, together, and Karen noted that the prince and princess create a harmonious image that evokes admiration from everyone surrounding. For sure they get married, and Karen, I heard that she was already given a tiara that symbolized the importance and high status of a girl in the royal court. Paul asked Karen if she was thinking about it, whether it's about love and marriage, provoking lung embarrassment and a smile on the face of the prince's teacher. Karen immediately raised eyes and asked again, not understanding why it is he who leads conversation, but attentive to every word. He said that he was just curious, and she admitted that she didn't know that maybe reply to this question, leaving space for reflection. He wanted more to say something, but suddenly heard a loud bang that forced everyone around turn attention to what is happening event. They heard the prince announce that kingdom will keep up with the times, abandoning the main industries that caused a storm of emotions in the hall. Paul and Karen were in full shocked by what I heard, not believing it your own ears, and feeling that the usual order is collapsing right on their eyes. They didn't understand that it all happens, and the noise in the hall began, absorbing everyone those present and creating an atmosphere of confusion. Jenna, I didn't understand at all how to respond to this react, face her expressed surprise and anxiety at the same time, as if reflecting internal chaos. She asked what he meant, and Edwin told her not to worry, because the family made a major contribution to livestock farming, the main sector of production. Royal family intends to honor them legacy, having made lands protected areas that provided safety traditions and respect for the merits of the family Pax. Anyone who will try to encroach on the honor of the family Pax, it will be considered a traitor, and the consequences of such a step will be heavy, that strengthened power and authority. This it was not only his will, but also the will queen's Sonetti, goddesses whose strength and wisdom instilled respect and guided destinies everyone subjects. Jenna has changed for us, so much so that it was impossible to recognize the faces her expression, as if reflected shock, anxiety, and confusion total what is happening. Everyone was shocked. The protected area meant difficulties in land development and construction. This it felt like deprivation possibilities use resources. With threat treason, who dare cooperate with the family Pax now? The Duke became very angry and almost lost composure. Everyone turned to him attention. He said that introduction, the future is worthy of admiration, but if their land suddenly will announce protected zone, this will disrupt resource supplies, which will be a heavy burden, will fall on the shoulders ordinary people, and will strengthen discontent royal family more. To some extent he was right. It is impossible study production and trade without significant capital. Family Pax monopolize the main one industry. Therefore, it's not that easy. Here, why your majesty, I haven't had any contact with them before. But now he was saying that it is the queen's will. I wonder what kind plans conceived Edwin. Edwin addressed the marquise, noting his concern for the kingdom, how commendable case. That's why he thought about collaborating with him. He noted that Marquis Bernard and Countess Ely agreed support his initiative. For them, it is great honor. Karen, I realized that these people knows. The man introduced himself to everyone, stating that their family will be responsible for materials from remote locations, eastern territories, to help kingdom. And the countess was responsible for the construction factories and railways for transportation resources. Maternal, the countess's line owned vast lands in the east, including mountain range with rocks. They instilled more trust than family Pax. What approved these innovations? Regardless of status or class, every could express opinion and accept participation. Students were shocked by the possibility participate in this case. Even the villagers thought that they here just for show. The words of these people caused everyone is happy present. Paul approached Karen, saying he was feeling bad, understands politics, but he believed that his contribution was clearly changing balance of power. Karen didn't understand why. Earlier I didn't notice this, thinking that working with influential houses is the only way to compromise. But probably her student turned out to be more smarter. He suggested Jenna dance along with her. The following action should be cunning and smart. So the queen once said, he must be the one who doesn't miss out your own. Maybe he is exactly it, just as she described it, your majesty. He also noted that Jenna, of course, has no choice, almost none. After this, they started dance together. The cake, he said that she really was to him useful. Thanks to joint parties have become easier to understand life noble societies. Jenna got angry, wondering question, played is he serious with her? But he noted that he believes she didn't leave empty-handed. She put it on display like doll, getting from this pleasure. Because of this, she got angry and shouted at him to shut up. She asked, really does he think that to him this will get away with it? She got furious and started grabbing the glasses. And then she started to smash everything. People were in complete disarray horror. Karen, she broke a glass and pointed it at Edwin, deciding that she would not back down, in front of no one. She promised that one day will take revenge for everything that considers unfair. Situation looked like she was in the kingdom, happened attempt on life. Karen, I was scared not only for myself, but also for Edwin. fearing consequences. Guards immediately rushed towards Edwin, but he stopped her with a gesture them, not wanting help. Edwin himself decided to go up to Jenna to sort out what's going on. But Jenna shouted at him not to come closer, expressing despair and anger. She insisted that he should not dare this to do, and he only warned of the consequences. If she wants save at least something through your family, better stop, but she refused. After this, Edwin took her by the hand, and mentioned hunting festival, hinting at knowledge her actions. Then Jenna I realized that he knew much more than she expected. He noted that she thought he would not know about her threat, and underestimated him. Jenna justified herself by saying that threat, it wasn't Edwin, but someone else's woman. Only after this, she realized how much serious was her error. She covered her mouth. I saw that he turned away, not wanting to continue the argument. Edwin said that if she doesn't want her executed in the square, it is necessary immediately disappear. After this guard grabbed the woman and wouldn't let her out from environment. She screamed, demanding that they remove their hands and allow her to leave without violence. But no one was going to let go her, obeying a strict order. The servant suggested treat His Highness's wound, trying at least help somehow situations. Jenna didn't understand why. Nobody here listens and continues hold by force. Her rage grew when she realized powerlessness in these situations. Tiara hereditary princesses called red by the Sun Kingdoms, majestic and terrible. There was something else too, the name that sounded how tears Icarus, warning against falls. Name reminded me that it's easy to fall, no matter how high climbed up. Everyone noticed how the crown fell and wondered if it really was, whether all it's over. And only few believed that the events ended finally, although this, it seemed possible. Meanwhile, the queen stood on the terrace, watching what was happening from above. She noted that the crown prince destroyed noble family and strengthened own positions. Edwin confirmed, "That's what I asked, is there? Is it in this some kind of problem for her?" The queen replied that problems can be only if the crown prince will decide for himself. He was grateful when she turned to me and said that I wonder what kind his reign will be. Edwin said that kingdom it is known, how state governed by will queens. Her called God in the flesh, but he saw country otherwise, evaluating her real forces. Country survived only thanks to the queen. Not poor, but not too poor either rich. Although progress there is development was going slower than other nations in the world. She reminded stagnant water that with time will dry or will rot. When the queen abdicates the throne, everything may be quickly collapse without her will. The queen asked, does she think so? Is he that she is root all the problems of the kingdom? She noted that the prince really marvelous fearless in his decisions. Then I asked, is he thinking? Is he that to him will do this is done without punishment? Edwin said that exactly. That's why she needs him, so that maintain order and authority. All it was for the sake of peace resignations queens, and Edwin really seemed like a cheeky boy. Karen, I was perplexed as to where it came from, took on such young prince, although she herself I discovered at once. She was I wonder if he can weather this young daring prince to hold attention Karen. Meanwhile, Karen talked with your own classmate, discussing recent events. Edwin noticed their conversation, and involuntarily turned glance in their direction, studying their behavior. In the evening, Karen was already going up to her room, feeling fatigue after busy day. She was very tired after banquet, my head was spinning, and I just wanted a little to have a rest. Reception under management, Edwina passed successfully, but everyone was surprised behavior Lady Jenna and Karen. I hoped that with Edwin, everything is fine. Although the events turned out not to be too deep, their impressions still left a mark on the heart. Edwin looked impressive, his presence was noticeable and attractive. Everyone was amazed by his charisma, determination, and amazing cold-bloodedness, as if he were created for power. In the future, he promised to be more amazing, developing their quality with each during the day. He really could have become an excellent ruler if we'll continue act with such confidence. When constantly thinking about someone, thoughts ourselves turn into feelings, barely realizing this. They can unnoticed grow into strong one's emotions that it is impossible to simply ignore. Karen noticed that he was sitting by the door and sleeping peacefully, as if waiting her returns. I was at a loss as to what to do when he suddenly opened eyes. He asked when Karen came back, studying her, a look of interest and lightness smile. Karen replied that only what she arrived, and was surprised why he was here, at her place. Rooms. Edwin explained that came precisely because I wanted to see Karen and make sure that she's fine. Karen was embarrassed and again revealed itself too much, not being able to hide their own emotions in front of him. I realized that I seem to be in a difficult situations, completely involved in what is happening. He's back again, pressed her against the wall, and gently kissed, enjoying the moment, slowly let go. He liked it kiss Karen, but she herself did not object, and allowed him be nearby. Karen noticed that it was late, and realized that costs think about the consequences. In the palace, I'm sure everyone was worried, but suddenly, Edwin began to smile, reassuringly. Her! She straight away I understood, took his hand and apologized, but he said that spells healed him. Karen again, she turned to him, saying that he shouldn't do that, trying to keep her distance. He explained that if she will avoid him, he will be offended and will feel melancholy. That's why he asked to just look at him, because Mrs. and wants see her next to her. Karen raised eyes, and finally realized that her feelings for Edwin stronger than she thought. I was glad, because I was able to look at him and feel his presence nearby. It wasn't just his appearance. He made her feel weak and trembling at the same time. After this, they ended up in bed together, and Edwin asked who accompanied her at the banquet. Karen replied that this was classmate, manager country scientific research laboratory. Edwin, I asked if there were whether they close, and Karen said that they are just friends. He's having a hard time sank down face down on the pillow, as if thinking about her words and feelings. Karen asked why he was interested by this, trying to understand his reaction and mood. He clarified he knows does he see the side of Karen that previously it was not possible to see and understand. Karen smiled and asked if it was really true, whether Edwin heard jealous, slightly laughing. Edwin confirmed this, and Karen said that it's funny, but he insisted that jealous specifically to her. I couldn't even imagine how worried he was when only arrived at the palace and saw her. Earlier they always were close, and now see each other rarely, and if he knew, he wouldn't be in a hurry would move. After this, Karen laughed and wondered where he had gone, that man from the banquet. Edwin asked, did you like it? Whether she liked his speech, and Karen admitted that I was impressed. He also noted that he would like that time just stood still, and I enjoyed the moment. He hugged her, and Karen said that he would probably regret such a relationship later. But Edwin didn't understand what it was about, exactly cost to feel sorry for, and what kind feelings can be illusion. Karen explained that his feelings can be illusion, caused by admiration and passion. But he replied that there will be no way feel sorry for your own feelings and actions. She turned to him and said that I never regretted it, in the future it won't happen either. All had happened because for Karen, first the meeting with Edwin turned out to be real love, that straightaway touched her heart. Edwin carefully kissed her by a strand of hair, and this, a gentle gesture, made Karen feel warmth and closeness. After this, Karen pressed herself against him, hugging him as if she wanted more, never let go. He leaned towards her and kissed her forehead, softly and carefully, as if he wanted to calm her down. Her heart. Karen always trembled at the mention of his name. It beat stronger every time she thought about him. We kissed again, and the heart Karen, as if it was ready, just about to burst with excitement. They continued kissing, and Karen didn't know how cope with the feelings that overwhelmed her inside. The next day, the princess noticed that I heard how last at night Edwin was absent from the palace. They said that at the banquet, he injured his hand with a glass which waved Marquise Jenna, and this everyone surprised. If he hadn't spent the night at home yet, such a dream was clearly disturbing, and now Karen thought about the future responsibility. I slept for 10 hours, and suddenly, Karen felt uneasy, as if anxiety itself penetrated into her thoughts. She asked her sister Carla, and noticed that leaving from palace didn't tell anyone about it, that it was wrong. Queen Sinetti said that I meant Pax, and in any case, Edwin was future ruler. This is important. Whatever I did, it's not hers business, but Karen thought that not bad would if he had a wife. The queen noted that Karen could have been beautiful princess, because she liked only smart people. Because of these words, Karen blushed, and said that here such was enough unexpectedly for her. But the queen did not understand why, and believed that Karen doesn't feel sympathy for her to my son. Karen was I'm sure the queen will to everyone knows, and this did her more and more tense. After the queen asked again if he liked this, whether Karen Edwin, experiencing her reaction. Karen was too much excited, so I decided not to answer this question to save calmness. Edwin reported that the products he requested are already ready and waiting for him, as agreed previously. When he them saw, Edwin thanked for the service and was I'm glad that all was made during. Karen, I was shocked to realize that before the important event remained total month, and time there is almost nothing left. Paul noted that plans to return immediately after conference, and doesn't want leave the laboratory for a long time. Karen noted that she herself was mired in paperwork red tape and matters that could not be tolerated delays. But she enjoyed spending time with your own classmate. This has brightened up her weekdays and did their easier. Thanks to school seemed to him fun and interesting, and every day brought something new and exciting. Farewell, Karen wished to him happy paths, hoping that all it will work out successfully and easily. He said that to him same very, it's nice to spend time with her, and it's warmed her heart with warmth. He also suggested that if she doesn't mind visiting his lab, and Karen straightaway agreed with joy. She noted that of course she would like to, and her eyes shone with anticipation new impressions. When he heard at these words, Edwin jumped for joy, not hiding it delight and happiness. Karen said that he'll arrive and asked why he was so nervous, because of the usual invitations. She noted that she can't wait anymore to know about all the details of the laboratory and see all your own with eyes. Karen said that will arrive next vacation, and this message left in Edward lung feeling expectations. When Karen she looked at her watch, I realized that it was already it's late and time is running out fast leaves. She apologized, said that should go, and quickly stood up, hurrying to leave the room. Karen promised that contact him later, and he was surprised that she's so sudden left. Looks like she is really to him. Very I like it. After all, thoughts about her never left him. He stood up and couldn't take away a glance from Karen. Her image occupied all his attention. He was I wonder with whom she occurs. Although tried hide your own curiosity. Young woman, I heard a strange sound in the library, and asked Leon if he had heard it, whether he is this. He didn't understand what it was about, she says, and asked again what made Karen feel a little embarrassed. The sound was repeated, and similar ones noises it certainly should not was be in the Royal Library. Having opened door, they saw Edward together with Karen, hugging in a quiet corner. Karen asked Edward to screw something on, so that they weren't noticed outsiders. He was surprised and asked what it was about. Exactly, she says, trying to understand her hint. Edward clarified. He says whether it's about the sounds of kisses or this manifestation of jealousy. Karen explained that meant both, but he noticed that she fast turned attention to the other. He is shameless flirted with her, and after this, Edward gently kissed her neck. Karen said that he was just a friend to her, trying to contain emotions. Edward admitted that exactly, that's why he's worried. After all, feelings for him are important. After this, Karen stated that she needed go and do it their responsibilities. She added that separation work and personal matters, otherwise will arise problems. Edward said that if all urgently, he can hurry up and help her faster. Karen asked what it is he who is busy. Noticing his intent attention to yourself, he hugged her from behind, creating feeling closeness and security. He's back again. He rubbed himself against her from behind, and this happened again, causing her lung excitement. But she liked it so much, kiss him in this very place quiet library. The moments repeated themselves so many times that hundreds of such scenes accumulated in her head. They say lovers don't notice time, and she didn't think that this will touch her personally. She didn't stop Edward, though understood that to him, hard my self-control. But it's time to work. Construction tunnel was to end on this week, and terms they were pressing. Looks like it started build a long time ago. Magical stones are located in the mountains belonging to Countess Ely. Because of the rocky terrain extraction and transportation resources complicated, only group workers this may be. The Countess had dreamed of this since childhood, and her student made it come true. Children's concept into reality. Everyone noticed that Karen leads myself. It's strange. But she decided diligently work with Edward. Also I saw the letter and was surprised, not understanding when I managed to get it. She asked when it had been delivered and was told 2 days ago. The red seal meant it was urgent. When she opened the letter, she found out that delegation from native cities arrived to congratulate Edward with a receipt title. Now the delegation was heading to the kingdom, enclosing a list of all members for official reception. Among delegations was the Prince of Aldebar Christian, with his fiancée, listed in the letter's appendix. Karen didn't understand why, finds out about this exactly now, not earlier. She thought about it. There is whether in the letter something else important to her or for Edward. Meanwhile, they were unloading at the port the ship, almost knocking it off its feet, St. Carla. They were interested, everything is it okay. considering Holy almost an angel in reality. Her husband said that them costs, hurry up to have time for everything during. He noted that this the largest a port city, and here always very a lot of people. But to the capital, them more was ahead, get there by carriage, and the path seemed long and tiring. Karen smiled and mentally noted that they are already in the kingdom, although the road was long. She felt joy. Finally, the path has come to an end after so many days moving and waiting. Karen, I was horrified to learn about this only. Now, it's as if I missed an important moment. If the queen didn't mention it, then it's a matter of it seemed insignificant and not requiring attention. But the girl was. I'm sure that the majesty knew about everything and controlled its situation thoroughly. Karen didn't understand why everyone was talking like that, and it added to her anxiety and self-doubt. She sighed when stood up abruptly, feeling fatigue and stress from necessity act fast. It seems she has begun to understand. Feelings, queens, her fatigue from the constant problems of subordinates. Now Karen understood what the queen was talking about when complained that they're trying shift worries. Understanding came in relation to Carla. The path to the kingdom requires serious approach and preparation. But there is no way back. The map shows visit delegations, and Karen did announcement of the upcoming upon arrival. She noted that the route from Wellington to the capital will take less weeks, and you need to hurry to prepare. Necessary hire additional staff and get busy organization grandiose festive banquet. It should have been handover order of completion repairs the outer walls of the castle as can faster. It would be important to collect new royal orchestra for the ceremonial greetings delegations. One of present asked the question, is why delegation from Adelbars honor such special honor. Karen sighed, realizing that little runs in forward and better act according to plan. As usually, just follow the plan. That's it. What it is necessary, and no one should deviate from the plan established order. All hers understood, but Karen herself didn't know how we'll cope with by everyone responsibilities and upcoming troubles. When Carla and Karen reappeared, I was confused, not even realizing it their own emotions and inner voltage. She acted as if she represented the entire nationality, his own kingdoms, before the delegation. But she herself didn't understand that exactly tried prove your own behavior and efforts in front of everyone. Apparently, she is strove show that has changed and is ready for new things responsibilities. Maybe it is she wanted to show Carla, to demonstrate that she had become more serious and responsible. Karen seemed a simpleton next to Carla, who looked confident and decisive in everything. Poor Carla, forced sacrifice for the sake of the elder one's sisters, despite their own interests. Karen, I thought that I myself hadn't changed. I remained the same indecisive and a little pathetic girl. Edwin learned about the delegation, and the queen noted that he, as the son of a duke, first in line to the throne, appeared occasion to congratulate him and confirm the alliance with the kingdom. The queen later instructed, organize reception. The princess stated that there was no need, as all the preparations had already been taken care of. Also, she noted that he had recently ordered ring near Moscow jeweler, what caused interest. She suggested that ring intended for Karen, although Edwin himself did not confirm anything. He decided not to disclose intentions and only asked, against whether the queen is aware of his decisions and plans. His look was cold, expression his face didn't change. He remained determined and calm. The queen said, of course not, she's smart. Princess her only pleases with your mind and actions. Edwin announced his desire, do offer, and announce engagement, accelerating events in their plans. The queen advised to him, act like considers necessary, to follow your own feelings and plan. Even if she will try stop him, he's everything equals, he will do it his own way, but he wanted to ask permission first. Now, having received it agree, he is ready continue, realizing that does what is right in his opinion mothers. The queen laughed, thinking that he really wonderful son and worthy heir throne. A disaster will happen if she too much will become attached to him, and this maybe complicate future events. Probably time to start preparations for the transfer of the throne, so that everything is ready for the solemn moments. Edwin, cozy, settled down on Karen's lap, feeling peace and home comfort next to her. Karen was so deep in thought that I didn't even hear Edwin's steps, immersed in my thoughts. She stopped, wondering why continues this to do. After all, someone might notice her actions and understand the intent. Edwin remained calmly, explaining that ordered not to let anyone in and wants just lie on her lap. Karen, I decided to put my thoughts in order, trying not to pay attention to his request, and focus on yourself. Edwin noticed that she, real workaholic, completely passionate with deeds, and not able to rest no minutes. He asked, does he think? Whether she at least sometimes about him, trying to catch her attention and understand the attitude towards yourself. Karen asked again, what about exactly his coming speech? And assured that, of course, her thoughts often return to him. She admitted that constantly cares about his well-being and tries to think about him, even in difficult times moments. Her words are incredible calmed down Edwina, like they took it off him worries and doubts, giving lightness to the soul. He said that yesterday learned from the Queen Sonetti on arrival delegations from her native cities that a little excited. Karen noted this and immediately felt tired, realizing that it's time to go and rest after a long day. For a long time, be absent from work was not good, but Edwin tried her stop without wanting to let go earlier time. She explained that I forgot documents on the table, their need to view today, but he took her by the hand, and asked her not to rush. Edwin asked what happened and why she's so sudden is about to leave, noticing her anxiety and confusion. Karen mentally turned to her sister Carla, who is traveling with a delegation, and about which she said earlier, if what she told Edwin might have been aware of this, easier, and anxiety a little gone from the soul. But Karen decided not to mix personal feelings with diplomatic responsibilities and adhered strictly to the framework. She thought about it, really, whether Edwin takes care of her, and a light, barely noticeable smile. He said that of course it is delegation from her native cities, and its anxiety quite clear and natural. Karen explained that it's not about that, but about the fact that delegation I came for him, and the reception should go perfectly. Edwin agreed, and Karen came up closer, assuring that there is no point to hide and worry about something in vain. He added that if something will go wrong, she necessarily should report to him, without hiding no problem. Karen promised that contact him if will arise any unexpected situation, without delay and without hesitation. He said it wasn't worth it. Worry, everything will pass okay. And hers too, anxiety absolutely unnecessary, although understandable. Edwin was surprised that Karen again refuses to devote to him time, despite his attention and care for her. Looks like she is fully immersed in preparation for the reception delegations, and in the smallest details without leaving, keep yourself aside. The servant asked if it was worth it, whether try to schedule a meeting with Karen again, given her complete immersion in work. Edwin, he said that it was not worth it, and let the servant go, deciding not to interfere with her work. Is probably it. It started on the day when she suddenly was in a hurry after questions about the delegation. He didn't understand at all why Karen is so herself leads and reacts to events. Meanwhile, Karen worked very concentrated, without being distracted by extraneous things. They all didn't understand why the countess was leading myself. That's exactly how it hides their emotions. It seems like last week she worked overtime. Karen took over strangers' responsibilities, trying to wall ideally so that no one noticed her internal worries and anxieties. She specially loaded my self-work to hide their feelings and remain honest with Edwin, without showing weakness. Edwin was insightful and sure noticed, I wonder what happened to Karen. Something is wrong if she started to behave too much tensely. Even when case concerned diplomatic problems, Karen did not want to show her weaknesses and remained focused and attentive. So she had to completely concentrate on work, and don't let yourself get distracted for nothing personal. Until Carla left, Karen tried to stay away from Edwin, so that calm down and don't create extra difficulties. She convinced myself that all it will be fine, and it's not worth it in advance. Worry about possible difficulties and surprises. Edwin clarified, everything is Karen okay on the day of her arrival? Delegations, showing care and attention to her state. Karen replied that thanks to his attention and support, she is all calmly, and she feels myself confidently and calmly. He slightly joked, noting that she leads myself as if all is coming bad, although in reality, in fact, the situation was favorable. After this, reported that delegation from Aldebaran has already arrived, and Karen to come devote them attention today in the evening. She will have to spend it with Edwin time to complete necessary responsibilities and support diplomatic order of events. Karen looked at him with eyes full easy excitement, trying hide internal confusion and remain calm. Edwin came out and smiled back at her, softly supporting her and as if suggesting that all will calmly. Sir went forward, and Karen lowered her head, trying save dignity and focus on what is happening. She closed eyes and tried calm down myself, repeating that you just need to wait it out. That's all, it will become easier. She needs it was be patient a little, stay restrained, and then the situation gradually will become easier and more familiar. Later, all it really became easier, And I heard the man in shock, noted Carla's beauty, impressed her presence. They said that Bride the Third Prince is a saint, and Carl really is, looked dignified and beautiful to everyone present. Her beauty and calm grace left an impression, and everyone was amazed at how much charming she held herself at the meeting. The man admired her grandeur and manners, assessing how she looks like this official situation and how responds to attention. He was third prince, and Edward noticed that after long paths, they're probably tired, but that's all they all held themselves with dignity. Meanwhile, the prince introduced his bride to Carl, demonstrating respect and emphasizing her significance in the royal family. She, the saint, said with dignity that it was an honor for her to meet His Highness, showing politeness and modesty. Edward greeted them in their kingdom, expressing friendliness and wanting to meeting passed calmly and solemnly. He, Edward, the prince, called Karen Lung embarrassment when she for the first time saw him, experiencing mixed feelings, unrest. In addition, he wanted to introduce his teacher, emphasizing her significance in his life and respect for her work. But, turning back, he noticed that Saint ran to Karen and hugged her, which came as a surprise to everyone present. She named Karen his own sister, and Edward was absolutely surprised, not expecting such a manifestation proximity between them. Saint explained that Mom and Dad we're worried about Karen, and everyone around us were shocked by the fact that they really sisters. Carla said that Karen didn't respond to her letters, so I was worried, and those around me started whisper about insignificance. Karen is next to Carla. But in reality, case nobody, I didn't say that. It's were only voices in my head, Karen, imposing feeling guilt and fear condemnation. She couldn't squeeze it out, not a word in response, fearing that everyone would her condemn as this happened in childhood, and I tried to keep silent. Karen thought that will be able to perceive the situation is just like work, but a clash with my sister caused strong internal emotions. Now that she ran into Carla, in her head stood white noise, disturbing concentrate and understand how to proceed further. She noticed that face Edward changed, and it made her feel excitement and fear of its possible disappointment. He probably was disappointed because Karen nothing I didn't tell him about my sister and their relationships, and this could be felt in his gaze. There were no ghosts, but Karen couldn't pronounce not a word. After all, they sisters. And she kept it a secret for fear reactions Edward. They were not at all similar, and Karen understood that it is forbidden myself compare with Carla. After all their characters and images, life were different. Edward said that understands her the joy of being reunited with family after long time, showing attention and care for her feelings. But time with pleasantries limited, so he covered it by yourself, Karen, taking care of her and creating feeling protection and support. He reported that Your Majesty is waiting them, therefore them follows immediately set off without delay, visit so as not to violate palace protocol. Saint smiled when Karen noted that she got carried away and neglected decency, as if forgot about the strict rules of etiquette. She explained that, as apologies wants to grant to Edward blessing, goddesses showing respect and care simultaneously. The saint took Edward by the hand and smiled warmly. To him, as if passing on part his own internal light and goodwill. Her husband was surprised such unexpected demonstration and involuntarily cried out his name, not expecting such an act. Karen same. I was confused and asked what was going on, not understanding. Actions, the saint, and the husband's reaction to what was happening. Edward carefully removed his hand and said that forced refuse while maintaining calm, despite the growing voltage in the room. After all, before him was the goddess herself, in whom he believes, and the presence the saint made him act with caution and respect. After he pointed towards Karen, then called universal surprise and shock among present guests and members of the court. The queen came out and noticed that he was again tries to please her, demonstrating devotion and care for the mother. She emphasized that her son very devoted his own mother and tries do everything to her to please by showing kind intentions. The queen asked the saint to understand the behavior Edward and be tolerant of its manifestations, devotion, and feelings. Saint, together with her husband, greeted the queen, showing respect and observing all ceremonial formalities when meeting. He noted that offer Carla it was from the heart, showing sincerity and kindness intentions sister's saint. So he apologized for her impoliteness, and Carla herself also asked for forgiveness for possible inconvenience. The saint explained that she only wanted to apologize to Your Highness Edward, but he calmed down her, saying that everything is fine. He suggested going inside, as the snacks were already ready, and turned to Karen with a request escort guests to the hall. Karen carefully escorted the guests, accompanying them to, they felt myself comfortable and calm in the presence of the yard. The queen noted that they are not at all similar to each other, then surprised Edward, who did not expect that this known to his mother. She added that it is difficult for her to talk about this, because compared to her son, they seem so different and inconsistent. Edward looked at her and remembered past conversations and memories related to childhood and events in the palace. He remembered how Karen told that her sister was very beautiful child, full opposite the most Karen. She tried to be smarter, hoping that parents will turn on her attention, but the sister showed signs of holiness. In front of the face phenomenon that appeared for the first time in 100 years, all of her achievements seemed meaningless, but now they pretend that sister's close. After some time, they had already sat down at the table to enjoy snacks and drinks with the queen, observing ceremony. Meanwhile, Karen walked down the corridor, but suddenly felt myself bad, not understanding reasons his own states. She didn't know that to do. And even the look of Carla caused her anxiety and nervousness, increasing her internal confusion. Karen, I thought myself stupid, and remembered the past. When I thought about that, Edward called her his own goddess, and this worried her thoughts. Edward looked at Karen when she talked about it, but she understood that this it was impossible, and I couldn't believe it. Your own sensations. Carla, how always looked beautiful. Her beauty and grace attracted attention. As if luminous ideal sisters, she shone, and in comparison with her Karen, I felt like a nobody, feeling insurmountable difference between them. He approached her. Edward took my hand and asked if they would disappear. Whether all these impressions, trying calm down Karen and support her. Karen, I accidentally called him by name, then corrected myself and addressed him respectfully, calling Your Highness, observing protocol. She asked what maybe help, and he said that I was worried, because her behavior was unpredictable and a little was alarming. He asked if it was whether she is the one sister about whom Karen mentioned earlier, checking my guesses and memories. Karen apologized for not telling all the details earlier, explaining that I was just worried and didn't want to create inconvenience. What concerns reception, she was worried, but before she could finish speaking, Edward suddenly kissed her in the forehead, causing shock and embarrassment. Because of this, Karen she got scared and said that she shouldn't do that. It is impossible, feeling embarrassment and unusual excitement from his actions. She asked if it was possible, whether her again kiss without realizing it. This gesture carries special meaning and emotions. Karen blushed more stronger and asked again, unable to hide growing confusion and excitement about what is happening. Edward noticed that she looks like nervous, but it has only emphasized her charm and touchingness in his eyes. The Karen he knows was sweet, charming, smart, wonderful, beautiful, intelligent, sexy, charming, and radiant. Karen asked him to stop, feeling too much strong excitement and confusion, not knowing how to respond to his attention. He asked if it was possible, whether see her reaction after kiss, like checking how she perceives his actions and feelings. Karen got up, realizing that she couldn't calm down. Try and collect your thoughts and cope with the storm emotions inside myself. Because of this, he smiled internally, rejoicing and understanding that, really happy, see how events add up exactly so. All those around asked Karen why she didn't say that her sister Carla is a saint, like this was great revelation. Many even doubted that they relatives. After all, the sister's appearance was so different, that kinship, it seemed incredible. Familiar the melody sounded around, all the attention and praise was directed to Carla, and Karen remained in the shadows, feeling lung embarrassment. But Karen recalled Edwin's words to her earlier, when suddenly Carla came up to her, as if feeling her internal voltage. Everyone noted that both sisters charming, and St. Carla was unusually sweet, provocative admiration surrounding his own aura. Karen understood that since she here, among the guests, she needs observe business etiquette, respecting traditions and norms kingdoms. She believed that exactly such approach will faithful and will allow save dignity and order in the present's high societies. Karen tried to behave calmly and familiarly, because for her this was ordinary work, teaching and caring for Prince Edwin. Carla suddenly, her face changed, tears appeared before our eyes, and she apologized, explaining that I felt ashamed for my sister. Her burst into tears.